All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the remix. Oh, wow. It is so good to see you guys in the house tonight. Joining us here live in the forum this evening is Brother Bobby Hemmitt. He will be taking questions here this evening. We're going to get into the share, the Mayat blueprint, and expansion of the DNA kingdom. We was just listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire and Serpentine Fire. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go ahead and get ready and get into the show. I'm going to give a shout out really, really quick before I do that. I want to say welcome. We have a lot of guests in the house tonight. And just let you know that as a guest, you definitely can just sign up. That's all you have to do. Sign up here on Blog Talk Radio, and then you're able to participate in the chat room. So you're welcome to do that. Want to say peace and greetings to all of my international listeners. Want to give a big shout out and big love to the UK. Lots of the UK showing up for us. Japan is in the house tonight for us. Sweden is here. Barbados is here. Jamaica is here. Canada is here. Switzerland is here. And wow, some more of Japan in the house tonight. So I know it's always a challenge for my international listeners, so I always want to give them a very special shout-out for listening to the remix to Get Up. Just want to say welcome to you guys. We're going to go ahead and bring Brother Bobby on so we can get into the share. The show is going to be 3 hours here tonight. For those of you listening, know we've had a pretty amazing weekend, as always, here on the remix. Brother Panic was joining us on Friday night. If you didn't get a chance to hear that show, you definitely want to go back and download that show as well as this show. Now, let's get ready to bring Brother Bobby on the line. Peace and greetings, Brother Bobby.
Yes, how is it? How's it going? The remix is in the house.
That's right. The remix is in the house with Brother Bobby.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. You know,
yes.
I've been on an excursion or a vacation in the aspect of doing a lot of transforming physically.
Oh, yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about. So obviously I've been following my own DNA.
There it is.
And certain things, you know, I had was supposed to come to New York. I had to turn down about 5 lectures between July and now because the Spirit was like, you know, a lot of transformation in August. And basically they would put you under certain sedation, so I slept a lot. And basically when that is happening, it means that the DNA is doing its thing, and that's what we're going to really get into tonight. We're going to really get into tonight and stuff. So the reason why I didn't make it to New York was basically the Spirit basically just went through a whole transformation thing. So that's what was going on. So
beautiful.
As a matter of fact, and I realized why is because this is the 50th gate for the Hemmitt clan. My brother, see, I got 2 brothers, one a year old and one a year younger.
Right.
And my oldest brother, which is he born on September 28th, which will be Tuesday, 1960. I was born on November 28th, 1961. And the youngest brother was born on December 5th, a week after me, 1962. So actually the 50th gates, it's called the 50 Gates of Understanding. Michael Jackson went through that 50 gate and ascended. And the 50 Gates of Understanding, so it's in the Kabbalah. They talk about the 50th gates. A lot of times the whole detailed stuff on that 50 Gates of Understanding, you might not be able to find it in a lot of Kabbalahs, but you want to get the one, the Holy Kabbalah by A.E. Waite. Arthur Edward Waite, but he goes by A.E. Waite, and in there he goes into the whole 50 Gates of Understanding, the 50 Gates of Shekinah. So my brother on Tuesday will be the first of the Hemmitt clan as far as our line that will hit the 50 gates. I'll hit the 50 gates as far as he'll turn 50 on Tuesday. I'll hit the 50 gates next year on November 28th, next year. So what happens here is because we're part of the same clan.
Right.
I'm going through the 50 gates also because even though I'll be 50 next year, I'm going through the 50th gates also with my brother. All 3 of us are because of the simple fact he does that on Tuesday. So I think that there was, and I'll get into what this is about.
Right.
I'll get into what this is about. The 50 gates is also the 50 gates of the Shekinah, and the Shekinah is also a form of Malkuth, which is the earth. Now, the Shekinah is the ultimate feminine face of God. We'll get into that. So, in so many words, I was wondering why I was going through all these transformations, but then I realized not only was it the 50 gates of my brother, but it is the 40th year of my father's death. I think he died sometime in August. Jimi Hendrix died on the 18th of September in 1970, both of them in 1970. And so, as a result, there's a lot of things that's lining up. So we're going to be talking about DNA. We're going to also be talking about ancestral things and show you how this stuff is all coming together.
Wow.
All coming together. I want to also say certain things that's happening. On Michael Jackson's birthday was, on his death day, which was the 25th, on the 25th of June.
Yes.
Yeah, on the 25th of June, on his transformation day, let's put it that way, his ascending day, let's put it that way.
Right.
On the 25th of June, what happened is he came and he begged us all day to play his music, and I was like, well, everybody else is playing your music this day. I said, so we're going to pass on it because we've been playing it all the week in the car. So what happened was he got on. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, we'll go and play one track of Thriller.
Right.
One track of Thriller. Well, one side of Thriller, and ended up playing the whole album. And the very last song on the album, he came on the street and blew out the lights.
Wow.
And basically as a testament of his force.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? As a testament of his force. And it's also to remind us that we have power, you see what I'm saying, beyond this particular life. So now on his birthday, which was, I think, April the 29th, I think it was. Whatever it was, that same day was the not April 29th, August 29th. That same day was the anniversary of Katrina, 5-year anniversary of Katrina. It was the day that Hemmitt made the transition.
Okay.
And on that day, we have this Ganesha altar with these multiple Ganeshas, but we have also the Ganesha altar is on the top of it is a lit up fountain of Ganesha. And on that day, that fountain started sprouting out milk on that particular day. Now, that is also the birthday of Heru, or Hathor. But also, now, Hathor is also Lakshmi in India. So it is the birthday of Heru, or Hathor, on that particular day. And so I said, well, what is this about? And Hathor came through and said, well, there's these particular energies coming through. And so as a result, we lit a candle or whatever type thing.
Right.
But that day lines up with all the goddesses. I tell people often to go on the internet and get the book, The Goddess Book of Days by Diane Stein.
Yes.
And by Diane Stein, The Goddess Book of Days. So to make a long story short, that kicked off the week of Ganesha, and they had it all around the world. It's called Ganesha Fest to show you how things are lining up. But for the mere fact that altar was actually sprouting out milk. Now, we heard back in 1995 that they had Ganesha was drinking milk. When you put a spoon of milk up to his trunk, he was drinking milk. But this particular time, that altar was sprouting out milk. And so it has something to do with Lakshmi being born from the ocean of milk, the goddess Venus being birthed from the sea, of the foam of the sea, as well as Heru. It was on her particular day. So just to give you a line of there's things that is happening in the spirit world. That is going down, in so many words. Yes. You have any questions?
Yes. Well, the first thing I was going to say is I can sort of bear witness to a lot of that transformation, and a lot of people have talked about it as well. So in this time, what are some of the things that we should be focusing on for those people that are really going through sort of...
what I'll do is as I get into the lecture, I'll take you step by step on some things that we need to be doing. To piggyback on some things that has happened, I realized, about a year ago, I released the stimulus package.
Yes.
The angelic stimulus package, as to go along with the Obama's stimulus package.
Right.
And so I said, well, there's a physical stimulus package. Well, this is the angelic stimulus package, which wasn't some stuff that just came around in my mind, but it was actually a ritual that was done to the Archangel Raphael that started this whole angelic thing. And then they told us where to go to get the check, told us where to go to get the actual guardian angel list and all this, and thus this has been very successful with a lot of people. But then I found out a little more information on it based on numbers. The stimulus package that Barack Obama gave to America allotted was the number. It was $814 billion. Okay. Now, there's got to be a flip side to that. So we find out, because I told the people before that those archangels are what is called Akkadian spirits. Anytime you hear the word Akkadia, whenever you hear that, that's talking about ancient primordial times. And so, like I said, the Akkadians showed up in the first Scorpion King movie.
Right.
And they showed up, and it was the Michael Clark Duncan and a whole bunch of black people. So they're trying to tell you that this is ancient ancestral melanin people. Now, the key here is melanin, the numeric value for melanin is 418, which is Aleister Crowley explains, and even Richard King mentions Aleister Crowley 777 and the numerical value of the melanin, and 418, because 418 is also numerical value for chaos. Chaos is also in the blood. Melanin and chaos is the same as explained by Richard King. Which you're going to go into some of this thing today on this particular melanin to set some things straight. But it's 418, so there's 814 billion that Barack Obama allotted, and you still get 418 is the same number. And that also happens to deal with melanin. It happens to also deal with the car, and the car is also your guardian angels. We talked about this before. So in so many words, our check is 418, which is also dealing with not only melanin but DNA and all of this. So we're just trying to show how these things line up on a magical system. And I didn't know until about 2 weeks ago that the money that he allotted was 814, and just so happened to be 418 in the angelic thing. So just to give you a piggyback on some things on that, what is happening. Another thing too, the picture packet is still going well. It's phenomenal, and just for ritual's sake, people need to get a hold to that particular picture packet for the simple fact it's pretty much got pictures to cover just about every aspect of deities, whether it's East Indian, whether it's Egyptian. We've added a new thunder dog, which is a Native American spirit that we dug up on the mounds. We contacted back in 1994 at the Pinson Mounds in Jackson, Tennessee. He's a Native American form of Anubis and a form of Legbar and all. So it just covers all things from Asia, India, Africa, or what have you, plus the complete Orishas and all of that. So that's going real well. So like I said, you can purchase those plus the DVDs at 678-358-1055. Now, with infomercial said, let me explain some things that's actually happening as far as the transformation. You always heard me talk about a good friend named Bob Cece. So we're going to give you actual human beings and transformation. Okay. I got a good friend that just turned 70 this year. His name is Bob Cece. He's a Superman. I mean, his mannerisms, his looks, and everything is like probably early 60s or late 50s. But anyway, he just turned 70. But he made mention that the doctor said his thyroid don't work, his adrenaline gland don't work, all these things don't work, but they can't find no side effects. It's almost as if to say, you got all these things that's not working in you, but on the other hand, you function on a very high level. It's not like he has one side effect or one effect of illness based on these things don't work. And they're baffled. They say, we can't understand how there's nothing wrong with you, but you have several things on you that don't work. And so I said, well, number one, we know that you are a God and you've been on this path for a minute. But I said, because he was one of the ones that at the Church of Philadelphia, we helped build a lot of the things I lectured on and a lot of things over the 90s. We really worked together, and it was a consortium of bringing all this particular knowledge, but they were there in the beginning. We call it the Church of Philadelphia. Now, the brother Barsisi, and I figured it out. I said, Barsisi, I said, the reason why they can't find nothing wrong with you, but all your stuff is not working, I say because you didn't survive the car crash in 02. And what had happened in 02, he was drunk. He was walking out there. He got run over by a car. Had on a white suit. He got up. He didn't know he was dead. He didn't know he was hit. He walked 6 blocks to his sister's house, told his sister, I believe somebody got hit. Let's go back down here and see who it was. And they was all looking for the person, the people in the car and all the ambulance and all the police and stuff. They was looking for the person who supposedly got hit, and they couldn't find anybody. They said, well, this guy right over here with the white suit on, he has tire tracks all over his suit. So maybe he's the one. You see what I'm saying? So I said, well, apparently you didn't survive that car crash, which means if you're already dead, then it doesn't matter what things in your body that doesn't work. Now, this is no spook stuff. It's called death in life. Because if someone told me, well, Bobby, apparently you died in your sleep in 2001. Now, let me explain this. There's a brother named Kalindi. Now, Kalindi is a brother that deals with the sacred mushrooms and all of this. And he said he was in the hospital. He also deals with martial arts and stuff. He said he was in the hospital visiting a friend. And they have this type of, the friend had to go to the bathroom, so the nurses helped him go to the bathroom. They have this monitor on you that beeps whether the same kind of monitor, if it beeps you flatline, they'll run in and, or what have you. So what he did when the friend went to the bathroom, he stuck his hand in the actual monitor. And it flatlined. And so all the doctors ran in thinking somebody's dead or they got to go and try to save somebody's life. Kalindi's standing there. And they said, well, Kalindi, they said, was there somebody? He said, no, I was in the room. They said, did you do that? They said, yeah. He said, well, they said, put your hand back in there. And he put his hand back in there and it flatlined again. So they was like, well, apparently if your hand is in that machine and it flatlined, it means that you're already dead. You see, it means that you're already dead. So by some way of the DNA, you see what I'm saying? In some way, a certain amount of knowledge and a certain amount of things, you can transform yourself, and it's no different than being out of here. But then again, you're still functioning. So what we're talking about here, because he paid close attention, what we're talking about here tonight is this is what's happening based on the transforming aspect. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that as we go into certain things, because what happened was before the spring of 2001, I had a nephew that kept calling me a dead man. And they said, why are you calling him a dead man? He said, he's dead. He's a spirit. So obviously, this is a transformation that we're doing in this particular knowledge. And I know some people are just getting into this particular information. But as you go on, the more knowledge you learn is also a form of transformation, especially if you get this right kind of knowledge. And you should never stop studying, and you should never be under the doctrine of one particular person. You see what I'm saying? So if you just keep this thing up, your cells and everything transforms. You see what I'm saying? With a certain amount of knowledge that you have, and it transforms. So this is what's happened to certain people that's been in this thing for a minute. And stuff like that. They actually transform. So this is what's actually happening. We're going through a series of deaths, but we want to say a series of transformations.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what the DNA. We're going to get close into this tonight. We're going to get close into this tonight. To give you an example, when there's a sister in Indianapolis named Sonora. She used to have me come to lecture in Indiana about 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7 times in Indianapolis, Indiana. She went to Brazil to visit a friend this summer. Before she went. I think before she went or after she came back, she went and got one of those things that they check your colon out, and come to find out that she had a little bit of colon cancer. And so they said, well, they got the colon cancer. They said it's starting to metastasize, but they said if they could get it and they could get the area that they could cover the area they could actually take out the area and they could get it in time because they caught it in time. But that particular morning when she arrived to go get the operation, they told her they couldn't find any cancer. It disappeared. Now, she had just gotten it checked that Friday. By that Monday, it had disappeared.
Right.
And the curious thing about that was she said, well, I got the 4 pictures because we started adding this into the stimulus package where there's 4 pictures of 4 archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. And so these 4 pictures, and one is called the Singers of Healing. That is the Raphael one. And she said, well, all weekend I just stared at those pictures of the 4 pictures that we have in the stimulus package. But the actual healing one we have in the picture packet, which is the Singer of Healing. We have a bigger picture in the picture packet. So she stared at that, and by that Monday when she got there, the cancer was gone. You see, the cancer was gone. So the people, the people who don't have the stimulus package, we do add those 4 archangels in that stimulus package now. But also, for the people who've gotten the stimulus package and didn't get that, you need to get the picture package because we have the big archangel, the Singer of Healing, which is also a form of Archangel Raphael. We do have that particular one in the actual picture packet. Now, the key here is that same picture we sent out to the sister, a sister out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that only had a couple of weeks to live, and put the picture over her bed, that same Singers of Healing. You've probably seen it in my lectures. Put it over her bed, and cancer went into remission, and that was going on 3 years ago. So So we understand that, but there's certain things that happen in the DNA realm and what is actually happening to us. We are actually transforming into the God realm, and we're going to get deeper into this in a few minutes. I want to give a shout out to brother. There's a brother named we call him Tafiru. Panic knows him, and the brother Shabazz knows him. And we call him the brother Tef or Tafiru, but he goes by but he just wrote a book, and he's going by his original name, Justin Thomas. And the name of the book is called A Company of Moors. Yes. A Company of Moors. Yes. Is the name of the book. Now, I want to see if I can find this. Because he called me up one day, and he told me that he was going to send me a book. And he was going to send me this book because he created a character from me in the actual book. And me like a damn fool done lost the page. But the name of the character is called Roberto Hemmitt. And he created this particular character in here. Roberto Hemmitt. And if I can, I'll be strumming. When I find it, I will. What I'll do is I will read a little bit of the portion. But he has that. He created a character for Shabazz and a lot of other people. He even got Sister Linda in here. But I'll read that particular. Whenever I find it again, I'll read that particular thing as we go on. But the name of the book is called A Company of More. Here it is. It's on page 11. Roberto Hemmitt is a leader of a group of assassins called the 72 Points of the Universe. This is an awesome book. he held command. They talking about me now on this one. He held command over the local guards and police, but it was his clan that was the true outfit. Roberto's clan was split up into 20 teams of 36. He considered them 12 men called the sons, and 12 women called the moons, and 12 initiates called the stars. Roberto led his clan with Mistress Alinda Kali, and she was of Dravidian Ethiopian extraction. And so they talk about these particular characters and all. Now it's ironic because he has one in here for the brother Shabazz, and for some reason I said, wait a minute, now he must be channeling because there were some certain things he was doing. Because some reason one of the sisters that ends up in the book is Sister Sonura that ends up also in the book. And said that she was a student of Roberto Hemmitt. Well, Sonura, what you might well say she was, because since she had me come lecture, she was studying a lot of my stuff. So for some reason, they asked him, well, how did she get in the book? And basically, he said he don't know. But anyway, the book is unbelievable. It's called A Company of Moors by Justin Thomas. And you can go on www.ancientartifacts.com. Ancientartifacts.com. So this is how you have to spell it. ANCIENTARTOFFACTS.com, and it's called A Company of Moors. And you can go and get this particular book. And this book is dynamite. It's over 300 pages. So this book is a novel / research, because he's researched this whole Moorish paradigm into this particular book. Now, when we talk about the Moors, and we talk about the Moors of Spain, the historical Moors of Spain, we're not necessarily talking about Noble Drew Ali's Moors, because a lot of people are confused a lot and stuff. You see, they hear some stuff about the Moors here, and they got to understand there's two histories going on. You see, one is a modern history of Noble Drew Ali, and the other one is next to the cusp of ancient and modern history, because it was in the 8th century when they invaded Spain. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. Couple other things too. Now there's a couple other things too.
Beautiful.
There's a brother. Remember, I was telling the people about the cactus, and I said the cactus cures diabetes.
Yes.
Well, there's a brother named Andrew out of Chicago called me up and said that there's some stuff which is a sweetener that you can put in, inside of your coffee or your drinks or what have you. And the name of this particular sweetener, which is very interesting here, is called agave nectar, AGAVE, agave nectar, and it's made from cactus. It's made from cactus. So a lot of, and so this is some stuff which is basically bearing witness to when I was announced at African Origins of Archangels DVD that you need the cactus to get rid of diabetes. And it's ironic that we don't see a lot of diabetics and dialysis with the Mexicans walking around here. You see what I'm saying and all, you see.
Right, true.
And it's just interesting here. Now, the brother made another observation, which I was glad. This brother named Andrew Brown out of Chicago, he made another observation that, and he told me this story about some monks from Spain. And these monks from Spain got a hold to some alchemical texts, and they basically made this liqueur or alcohol from this alchemical text. It took them many years to do it, but they finally made it in 1605, the actual formula. Now, this is the key here, because the only alchemical text that was in Europe at that particular time, from the 1400s, was the stuff that the Moors left behind. So in so many words, they made this liqueur, and so this is from a Moorish recipe. It's a green liqueur, and it's called chartreuse. CHARTREUSE, chartreuse. Now, the thing about it here is the thing about it here is it's unbelievable. It tastes like it tastes like some type of sweet liquor incense. It tastes like something you never heard of in your life. So that's the good part about it. Now, the sad part about it for some of you all out here, a fifth costs $80. So a fifth costs $80. So so now unless you into the good high end stuff, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
A fifth of this stuff. But what we're still talking about here is a Moorish liqueur. It's made from alchemical text, which is still talking about in the line of melanin. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Beautiful.
Want to put that out there. And so we can go on. Any questions right quick?
Oh, yes. We definitely want to go to the phone lines. Lots of people. They got lots of conversations going on.
Let me go through let me just go through my lecture first. But I thought you had one or something. But
No. I am just taking it all in. Lots of great information and everything.
Good.
So, yeah.
Yes. Now, the last time I was there, I made this observation. Last time I talked to you, I think that was June the 6th.
Yeah.
A couple of things happened on June the 6th we'll get into. But I made the observation that what happened was, and I'm quite sure I should have gave a bigger explanation when I said that majority of the oil spill that we just had, there weren't a lot of fish found.
Right.
But yes, they did find some fish, but as far as billions of fish in the ocean, it was almost no-go. It was almost like, and then when CNN gave the list of pelicans and different things that died, they didn't list any fish. You see what I'm saying? So I'm quite sure, yes, there would probably be some fish that got caught in the oil spill, but nevertheless, for the billions of fish that there are, it's supposed to be, the sea was supposed to be just littered with them. You see what I'm saying? And they had no fish. But this is one of the keys now. And I talk about that. So I went to Alabama to do a lecture in July, the last lecture I did, and a lot of the people that was down there that came to the lecture was working on the oil spill. They was working on the oil spill. And they was like, Bobby, we've made this observation that we haven't seen no fish. We've seen pelicans, we've seen turtles, we've seen several things, but we haven't seen any fish. So just to give you some things, we got eyewitness people that said that they didn't see a lot of fish, and it was just interesting that they pulled my coattail, and it was a group of people. We got them on tape in the Alabama lecture. I'm talking about that, but I wanted to put that. But one of the keys I wanted to say is this. About the oil spill, we now know that a lot of these things that we see is in the book of Revelation, but I don't want to get on a Christian level. I want to take it much more of an ancient level. Mm-hmm. Now, because the book of Revelation came from several texts out of ancient Kemet, and one of the texts from the book of Revelation came out of a book called the Book of the Divine Cow. The Divine Cow is Hathor, and I think I was on your show and I said, that's I had to get off the beef and all of this type of thing because of that. And so in that particular time, the Divine Cow, which is the great mother, the Milky Way, which is also Het Heru Hathor. And it's ironic that fountain of Ganesha started sprouting milk on Het Heru's day, which is also Michael Jackson's birthday. But anyway, she's also called the Great Milky Way. But it's the Book of the Divine Cow is one of the texts that was later on translated into the Book of Revelation. You see what I'm saying? These are a lot of ancient texts floating around, and when the Romans got together, when they wanted to put together their book, they just used a lot of texts that they had already conquered through Greece, and Greece had conquered through Egypt. Right. Basically, and all of this stuff is just about all your texts in the ancient world origin is from Kemet. So one of the books is the book of Divine Cow, and the Book of Divine Cow was one of the ones, as well as some other texts that came from the Ramessean and Ramesses texts. The Book of Divine Cow was one of those texts that later on translated into the Book of Revelation. So I was fortunate enough to get a Book of the Divine Cow in some King Tut texts back in 1996. It was right at the cuff of the internet, and the stores wasn't that hip to it yet. and stuff. So the book cost $300. They didn't know at the time, and they sold me the book for $22. Now, this day and age, you can't find nothing because they check everything on the internet, and if it's out of print or if it's just something that's, you see, it's enormous amount of price. So I was lucky to get these texts. And one of the books was the Book of Divine Cow, and recently a brother from, I think he was from Virginia, I can't think of his name right now, sent me an article on a book that was supposed to be released. What was the brother's name from Virginia? He sent me the article on the Egyptian Revelation. You tell me. But anyway, I want to give the brother a shout out. He sent me an article on a book that's supposed to have been released. The book was called, and this book is a real scholarly book, a scholastic book, and this book is called The Egyptian Origin of the Book of Revelation by John H.C. Pippy, P-I-P-P-Y. The Egyptian Origin of the Book of Revelation by John H.C. Pippy. The brother named Jeff from Virginia. Yeah, so anyway, he sent me these internet articles on this thing, and then I ended up purchasing the book. We, me and a sister named Ella, we got the last two available because the book came out in 2009, but it sold to a lot of people, a lot of scholars and stuff, and as a result, the new one, they're still waiting for the new ones to be released. They're supposed to have been released in July. So in there, they talk about the Book of Divine Cow. He goes into these particular texts. He mentions the book that I got, Alexander Pinkall's book, on the Shrines of Tutankhamun. But he also mentions in there, finding it in the text, that there's a part in the Book of Revelation called poisonous water. And that poisonous water is the oil spill. You see what I'm saying? And might I add that they mentioned the oil spill and an explosion on a rig in a movie a year before it happened. The movie is Knowing by Nicolas Cage. Now the movie came out in 2009. That means they might have made it in 2008 because it came out spring 2009. So they might have made it in 2008. And they mentioned about an explosion on an oil rig in the Gulf Coast in the movie Knowing when he's watching TV. So now in this particular, but they talk about the poisonous water. They also talk about in the Bible the blood in the water. Well, if you look at that particular oil spill, it looked like red blood when they flew over it from an aerial shot. Now, so we got the poisonous water in the Book of Revelation, but now we also talk about the Book of Revelation, and preachers have been trying to decipher this one for years about the locusts coming.
Yes.
About the locusts. Well, it's interesting here. They had those, they call them cicadas or something like that. They had a bunch of them in Chicago in 2002 or 2003. But locusts are not indigenous to America. Now, but the locust is coming, but they got all these particular plagues. And the plagues now, that is the same locust that they're talking about, is also gripping New York City and Chicago, and that's the bed bug epidemic. And they got a bed bug epidemic. They had to close down Victoria's Secret. They had to close down Nike. They had to close down 2 theaters. Sebastian said all 5 boroughs got the bed bugs.
Yes. And you know what? I did hear from a brother who's international, and he told me the same thing is going on in some of those countries over there in Afghanistan and different places, too, with the bed bugs. Okay, bed bugs in Afghanistan and stuff. See, there's some stuff going on. And when it becomes global, and then we come to find out that they said that the biggest one, and it was because everybody was showing, CNN was always talking about, New York. But I found out last week that 70% of the bed bugs epidemic is in Chicago, and they had a summit, I think last Monday or something like that. So when you look at these things, we're talking about plagues. Right. We're talking about plagues that's actually happening, you see. And so this interesting thing, let me give you another interesting thing here. Down in, I think it was not Venezuela, let me see where this thing is. It's not in Venezuela. It's in some parts of let me see. Anybody know the girl that you remember Madonna played Avita, whatever that thing was. What was the name of that particular? What country? What country? This is very important. Let me find this country. Not Argentina. Argentina. Okay.
Down in Argentina, in that particular area, maybe even before it was called Argentina, they brought a lot of slaves. This has been bringing slaves to the South America and the Caribbean since the 1500s. So there was a lot of slave dances that used to go on down in Argentina in that particular area. And later on, those slave dances that maybe for 300 years or something, they carried over into what they would call maybe the modern aspect of things. When you talk about like the 1800s, would be started closer to the 20th century. So in the 1800s, they named one of these dances in Argentina after the slave dance, and it was a derivative pronunciation where you get the god Shango. It becomes tango.
Wow.
So the tango dance is a derivation of the word Shango. You see what I'm saying? And so tango becomes, years later it becomes the tango, and it's actually Shango. That's actually Shango. And there's a lot of power in that dance.
Yes, that tango.
In that particular in that tango. So y'all learn you some tango in honor of Shango.
Yes. Love the tango.
I got that in a book. Well, got the book. I bought a book last week. I bought this book last week, and Linda found it, I think, the next morning. The book is called Witches, Sirens, and Soothsayers by Savannah Marriott. Witches, Sirens, and Soothsayers by Savannah Marriott. And this is going to be on where she deals with this Shango and Tango. It's going to be on page 377 in this particular book. The Dance of Dionysus is the chapter. Witches, Sirens, and Soothsayers by Savannah Marriott. Always uncovering aspects of our history. So that tango is a powerful dance. So if you want to, we got a lot of people doing belly dance now.
Yeah.
But now maybe the next move is somebody learn that tango.
Yeah, the tango is very powerful too, because you're heart to heart.
You're heart to heart with a person, right?
Yes, and your
right. And come to find out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, and come to find out that's a Shango's dance.
Yes.
You see, this is which is unbelievable. And it raises the Kundalini energy.
Oh yes.
It raises the Kundalini energy also. Okay, what we looking at on time? Because we got a lot of stuff to cover.
We are doing wonderful on time here. We still have 2 hours and 8 minutes to go, so we are doing wonderful. I do want to give this out again, Brother Bobby, for asking. For those of you, I know a lot of you are hitting me up wanting to know where Bobby's coming to your city and if he's available for lectures. You can call the number 678-358-1055. That's for any of those things. If you're interested in the powerful picture packet, and this is not just pictures. Brother Bobby talked about last time. These are pictures that he's worked with, put a lot of energy in for years. So these are really special pictures. My favorite in there is going to be the African Venus. Love her. She spoke to me in the lecture when I seen a video of Brother Bobby. And so you, too, can find your pictures in there.
The King and Queen, one of the two color pictures,
Yes, I love it, love it. And go ahead. I was going to say the stimulus package, because I'm getting little PMs here where people asking me how can they get it. Any of those things, call Brother Bobby, 678-358-1055 to contact Brother Bobby.
And also, remember now, what you see on YouTube is only snippets. Yes. Those lectures are a minimum of 6 hours long. So if you want to get a lot of those lectures, you can also call the number, and you can also get those particular lectures. Now, it's very key that you need to get a hold to the stimulus package, especially now. Yes. Why? Because when Ganesha, who is also an opener of the way, when he had his fest and whenever he started sprouting the milk, you have to break this thing down. Well, what is this doing? What is going to become of this? What is this about? Well, it's also on the cusp of what is called the Diwali Festival, which is the celebration of the goddess Lakshmi on October the 16th. And the Diwali Festival is equivalent to New Year's, Christmas, and Thanksgiving in India. And it's all about the goddess Lakshmi, who is the goddess of prosperity.
Yes.
Who is the goddess of prosperity. Now, the interesting thing about it, because what they were trying to say here is, this particular time, because of Ganesha is the opener of the way, he is the one who removes obstacles. If you have the stimulus package and that day hits, which is the goddess of prosperity day, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. Well, we must say this particular part about it now. Just remember, people, because a lot of people don't understand things. A lot of times your prosperity don't necessarily have to come in monetary.
Yes.
But it's still prosperity. You see what I'm saying? So you want to have that stimulus package around her day of prosperity, October the 16th. So I wanted to also say that, you see, which is very key. Which is very key at this particular time. So now let me get into a couple of things that I want to get into right quick. The last time I was on your show was June the 6th.
Yes.
Okay, June the 6th, a certain thing happened to me. But what happened to me was actually an answer to the Martin Luther King thing. Remember last time I was on your show, I said I went to Memphis.
Yes, you told us.
I went to Memphis, and when I went there, I had to go and unlock a gate. It was almost like a black hole, and it was sucking all kind of negativity in the Lorraine Motel where Martin Luther King was shot. See, unfortunately, because we are mostly Christians, a lot of times we get rid of a lot of things that's happening in the spirit world because we are in the religious world. So what happened was when Martin Luther King got killed in that hotel, in that motel, what happened was at that particular time, is they were supposed to do some type of ritual and ceremony. You see what I'm saying? To cleanse and to make things right, to open a way, because there was so much pain and suffering that went down with that particular hotel. And, by them being, Christians and all, and the basic funeral and stuff, nothing was ever done. So when I went to Memphis, I had to go, and because they summoned me, and I had to go and take all of the gods of the crossroads, Ganesha, Legba, Anubis,
right.
All those doorway gods, Tahuti, Hecate, and go and do a ritual to open that back up. And I said after I got back, there was a guy that came up and said he was offended by the libation, but come to find out that particular person who was going through, Linda realized that it wasn't him talking, it was actually the spirits that came through him because they were mad that they had to get up out of there, out of that hotel. So now, when these things happen, we always look for, well, what is the result of this? What's going to happen? What is the result of this ritual that was done? So I said, well, I tell you what, we're just going to sit back and we'll just see what comes out of this. So what came out of it was this. One day, I started getting a figure like Marilyn Monroe coming through. And I said, well, wait a minute, hold on, this is lining up with this hotel. I said, well, there are rumors, some that say that she might have been black. I said she was a tortured soul, which means that her death was not actually, the entire part of her death that remains a mystery. I said, so it could be a lot of things. A lot of trapped energy was up in there. Maybe this thing is coming through. So what I did is I called up to Sister Kendall and I said, I'm thinking I'm getting Marilyn Monroe. Might have come out was one of these ones that's coming out of this hotel room or something. And she said, no, I'm not feeling that. I'm not getting that at all. I ain't picking her up at all. No, she said, that's not it. I said, okay, cool. I said, but all I know here is it's some white woman or what, or some and whatever stuff. So she said, no, that's not the one or what have you. Okay. Then the day that last time I spoke on your show, it was June the 6th. The day of June the 6th, we rode out to a metaphysical bookstore to get a statue of Medusa that I talked about on the last show. Right. During the time of getting it, when I was in there and stuff, I was looking through some new books. I always check out what's new. And I ran up on a book called Coven Sense, Covensense. S-E-N-S-E, Coven Sense. And it had a naked white woman on the cover, blonde white woman. I think her hair might be red, but it looked a little blonde because it was a black and white picture. They had some color pictures on the hair that ended up red. It's a naked woman sitting at a desk, and it's called Coven Sense. So this book is a book on witchcraft. This woman's name was Patricia Crowther. Crowther. So I want you to go on the internet and look up Coven Sense, which is the book by Patricia Crowther, to actually see the picture in what I actually saw on this book.
Right.
Now, because I looked, and then there's another picture of her sitting at the same desk that you can actually see at the actual on the internet, because Kimberly downloaded one for me. So, got the Medusa. Headed back home. We went to eat at a restaurant. Headed from the restaurant because I had to rush back because I get ready to do your show. And this essence attacked me. It attacked me. I said, wait, I'm getting this particular essence all over me in the car. Now, this is on June 6th. So, when this tale is going somewhere. So, when I got back home, I immediately went and picked up a book. I think they're selling them at Borders for $5 now, $5 or $6. And the book is The Witch Book by Raymond Buckland. The Witch Book, and it's an encyclopedia of the witches. And I picked up the book. I had remembered the name Patricia Crowther for some reason, and I'm bad on names, but I remembered that. I looked up Patricia Crowther in the actual book when I got home. And Patricia Crowther was initiated in Wicca, or witchcraft, on June the 6th, 1960. So we was dealing with the day that I saw the book, didn't know who this woman was. The day I got attacked, not in a bad sense. It was like a sexual essence. And when I got home, I looked up, and that actual day was the 50th anniversary of her initiation. Now, I called up Kimberly, tell her to look up Patricia Crowther. And Kimberly immediately says, Bobby, do you remember when you were thinking it was Marilyn Monroe that was coming up out of that room?
Yes.
They said it was this woman. Now, what the hell is a white woman witch got to do with Martin Luther King? This is with Martin Luther King. They said, okay, let's check this out. Now, so this is what happened. This woman was one of two women that was living, because all the rest of them had died. And the one of the women died, Linda Valencia, I think, died in 2000. So this is like one of the last remaining witches of what is called Gardnerians. Now, the Gardnerians is witches that was introduced under, that was brought in under a guy by the name of Gerald Gardner. Now, this is where this story gets interesting here. And let's take some witches from England, and let's bring this shit to Martin Luther King.
All right.
Okay, now check it out. So this is what happened. Aleister Crowley dies in 1947. Before he dies in 1947, he was introduced to Gerald Gardner. And he said, Gerald Gardner, I want to put you down with the OTO and let you go through this initiation. Then he died, and Gerald Gardner said, well, I went through these first degrees, but I'm not going to be able to finish this thing because, Aleister Crowley died. So what happened here is he decides to go off and reintroduce to the world the Wiccan or the witchcraft. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. The witchcraft, they killed 9 million witches in the Dark Ages. All they had to do was call you a witch, and most of the people they killed was Christians. And so they completely wiped out witchcraft for the simple fact here was only a few people underground, but the simple fact they outlawed it. So it wasn't until the 1950s, the mid-1950s, that Gerald Gardner decided to weave back together the ancient witchcraft, Wicca, wise woman, in with the Crowley stuff and the ancient Egyptian stuff. And that's why Isis becomes the patron goddess of Wicca. They're Isis worshippers. You see, now check it out now. So Gerald Gardner single-handedly brings back witchcraft. So the modern witchcraft you have now comes from one single essence, a guy by the name of Gerald Gardner. You can get a book called this. It's a book called Modern Wicca: A History of Gerald Gardner, a history from Gerald Gardner to the present by Michael Howard. Modern Wicca: A History of Gerald Gardner to the present by Michael Howard. Now let's get funky with this here, because this thing goes right in our back door. It goes right back to the ghetto. Now let me explain this to you. He starts to bring back this Wiccan stuff. And this man spends his winters in Africa. Oh, yeah, we're going to take it on home, show you how this thing is all connected. He spends his winters in Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana. And he basically studies the ancient traditions. And he says that the witchcraft that we chronicle starts in Hemmitt, travels to West Africa, and the other one travels up into southern Europe. These are the people, the Druids, that built Stonehenge. And we might say that 9 million people, it might be a history of some type of ethnic cleansing. You see where I'm coming from here? With 9 million people that they killed. Okay, so this is the deal. This thing, they kill these witches off, and this thing lies dormant until the mid-1950s. Now, look at this. We were taken into slavery. We did this. Some of our people was here before slavery. Some of our people, thousands of our people was here before slavery. Nevertheless, in the 20th century, we all on the bottom.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Now, then what happens? In the 1950s, they killed Emmett Till. People got fed up. By the end of 1955, and they killed him in August, by the end of 1955, Rosa Parks steps on the bus.
Right.
This starts the civil rights movement. Started in the mid-50s, snowballed into the 60s. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you see the track in here?
Yes.
This thing, they got wiped out. Gerald Gardner comes back. He starts their particular artists in the 1950s. Getting most of his, some of his stuff is inspiration from Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley is the one that unearthed AWAS. We'll get into a little bit of that in a few minutes. So now I'm trying to show you the connection. What we do, he starts it in the 1950s. We start the civil rights movement in the 1950s. It snowballs in the 1960s. And in 1960, he initiates one of his people, Patricia Crowther. Patricia Crowther. Now, so last time I talked, I said that motel, not only was it black history tied up in there, but the entire planet used Martin Luther King as a model of freedom and liberation.
Yes.
So what happened was, the day that I went to do the ritual was called May Day, or called Beltane. And the same day I did that, Deborah Blair did a lecture called May Day. So Beltane is a sacred day of the maypole, and it's a sacred day for the witches all around Europe. and in America now. So I did it on May Day, and who comes through this particular thing but this Patricia Crawford? Now, she's still living. She's like 83 now, 82 or 83. And so she's still living.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, her spirit comes through, because what happened was is whenever I unleashed this thing, thinking it was for oppressed people, it also unleashed in the Martin Luther King's motel, it also unleashed those suffering 9 million witch souls, which got their origin from ancient Egypt, because some of those were the Celtic Druids, and those particular people was indigenous people that built Stonehenge. Now, let me just take it a little further. Let me take it a little further for you to drive this thing home. I'll give you two aspects of this. I want to read something to you. In a book called The Circle of Isis, or Aset, The Ancient Egyptian Magic for Modern Witches. The name of the book is The Circle of Isis, and it says Ancient Egyptian Magic for Modern Witches by Ellen Cannon Reed. I picked this book up about 3 years ago. Ellen Cannon Reed is her name. Ellen Cannon Reed. Now, I want to read something to you. She was all into the Camite stuff. One of her friends asked her, why are you dealing with that Egyptian stuff? Them ain't nothing but Arabs. So this is what the woman says, that my friend, she was unaware that today, Egypt today is not the same culture. Today, Egypt is Islamic, for one thing, and its people are Semitic, quote unquote, what have you. Those who lived in Egypt during the early dynastic times were referred to as Hemmitic. So it's Hamitic or Kemetic, same thing. Well, Hamitic or Kemetic. And the words refer to a race of people according to legends and descendants of Ham. Well, you know that whole curse of Ham thing they got, but still yet the Ham, Cam, this is still Egyptian words. It includes the ancient Egyptians and other African races. Now check this out. The term also refers to a certain language including Egyptian, Berber, the Berbers is later, a Berber is a form of the Moors, and Gala and others. And I found it interesting that in this book, there's a book called Celtic Myths and Legends by Charles Squire, says that one of the two original races of people in the British Isles spoke a Hamitic or Kemetic language. You see, we have unearthed a group of ancient Egyptians who started the witchcraft. That's exactly what Gerald Gardner. That's why he would spend summer winters in Africa when it got cold in Europe. And the key here is the witches worship Aset, Isis worship. Now, this is the key. One last thing. So this woman comes through. She's naked on this book. Coven Sense. Her name is Patricia Quava. She has a nice invocation to Isis in the actual book, because I went back out and bought the book. Now, check this out. She's sitting at the desk naked. And now let me bring you into something about the witches. And they can teach us something. Now check this out. The witches do their rituals, and they go in some stuff called skyclad. Skyclad means your dress. I'm clad in linen. I'm clad in wool. Well, skyclad means you're clad by the sky, which means you are naked. And the witches deal with the rituals in skyclad, some of them. If you're not comfortable, you can wear articles of clothing, but they deal with the rituals in skyclad. Now, let me show you where this is going to go in a few minutes. So that means they deal with the stuff naked. Now, what the witches were trying to tell me, the energy is not that, you just rescued the witches. What they were trying to tell me is a great African tale, and that is this, a great African system. The one thing is this. You're not going to get black people to do nothing naked. You see what I'm saying? That ain't happening. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
We're not free like that. You see, Europeans are free like that. They make a decision.
Some of us aren't.
Yeah, they make a decision. We'll do some orgies or some shit like that, but you know what I'm saying? But my point here is we're not free like that to do no rituals. And that's not the point. We don't need you to do no rituals naked. I don't even see half the niggas naked. You see what I'm saying? I know damn well you don't want to see me naked. Now, this is the key. Now, this is one of the keys here about the sky clad. They do the sky clad because what happens here is when you do sky clad and you naked, you catch all the full images of the ritual and healing. I'm gonna give you another part of this. Now, when they talk about this sky clad, who in the hell do you think they imitating? If you was to go into Africa 3,000 years ago, what would you see? We would be naked. And it's like Chancellor Williams say, never think of the people are inferior because they go naked. Well, hell, it's hot. You live on the damn equator.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? You might have a loincloth or whatever type thing here, but you live on the equator. It just makes sense. And if you look at the ancient Egyptians, if you look real close, they might have had some little shears on, but most of them was naked. The ancient Africans were naked. Now, why were they naked? Because number one is this. They're imitating us because the simple fact, we have the melanin on the skin. Everybody has melanin in the blood system, but we're the ones that have melanin on the skin. Now, this is what the deal is, and this is one of the keys to this. This is one of the keys to this. They had a guy, I can't think his name. I think Lyndon LaRouche. He said he spent all those years in Africa. He spent all those years in Africa. He said, and when some of these tribes start putting on clothes with the Western man, they start coming down sick. Because, see, what's happening here, the sun directly permeates the melanin. You see what I'm saying? And it heals. And he said, they dropped a whole bunch of sunglasses off in West Africa, and once they dropped those sunglasses, they had people, they was there for colonization almost 100 years, and they've never seen no disease. Only when they dropped those sunglasses off, and they started having disease and stuff like that. So what the deal here is what they're saying is the reason why we are sick, and the reason why we can't get our melanin to work is because we got on clothes. Now, what I am saying, for you people that's grown, that don't have no children around, a lot of people can't do this. Most of the time, you're supposed to not wear clothes when you get in your house.
Yes,
and that's the healing.
I agree with that.
That's the heat. That's the healing. You could at least do that. You don't have to do no ceremonies because the witches already did it for us. You see what I'm saying? But you don't. But what they're trying to imitate here is the power that they get is the power we're supposed to get, but we always wearing clothes.
Right.
You see, we always wearing clothes, and also clothes. Not only does it block energy, you identify with ego when you're wearing all the clothes. Everybody looking at what you got on, and it distracts you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what they're doing the ritual. I'm not telling you to go and get naked and do no rituals. We don't want to hear y'all ass getting naked and doing no rituals. We're going to talk about y'all for 1,000,000 years.
That's right.
That's not important. The witches already do it for us. That's the connection. But what you can do for forms of healing is to get out your clothes, at least not wear no underwear.
Right.
That's one of the keys. If anything that's supposed to be free is your genitals.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you this stuff, and that is one of the reasons based on the sky clad. Based on the sky clad. They even talk about it in the Bible, in one of the chapters in the Bible, and I'll get the chapter before we leave. They talk about how the high priest is supposed to be sky clad, or they're supposed to be naked. You see what I'm saying, like that, to get the certain energy. So that is one of the things. I just want to get just to show you a connection on what came out of that that meeting with the Martin Luther King thing. Just an update on that.
Beautiful.
What's that part?
Yes. We are live in the remix with Brother Bobby Hemmitt. I am your host, of course, Miss Blue, talking about the Mayat Blueprint expansion of the DNA Kingdom. Now, for those of you who want to contact Brother Bobby, the number to contact him, whether you're interested in the picture packet, some of the DVDs, And you don't have to know the name of the DVD. If you happen to know, that's going to help. But we know on YouTube what you're seeing is just a fraction of really, really hours and hours of information.
Exactly.
And knowledge that you need. So you can just leave an explanation of what you're seeing, and Brother Bobby or his queen will let you know what video it is. So just dial 678-358-1055. And that's how you're going to be able to get in touch with Brother Bobby. Be patient if you don't get through right away. Lots of people are calling. Just continue to call, and you will get a call back. So how are you doing, Brother Bobby?
It's all good. It's all good. And remember now, they need to pick up them stimulus packages. Everybody needs some prosperity. So also, but I want to read one other thing.
Okay.
This is in the book that I talk about, Witches, Sirens, and Soothsayers by Savannah Marriott. And it says, the goddess instructs her priestess. That's the goddess. That's Aset. That's Hathor. That's Lakshmi. The goddess instructs her priestess, the priestess of the women, to dance naked in their rights as a sign that they are truly free. I wanted to deal with that before we go on to the other subject. Now let me. How much time we got?
Oh, we are doing very good on time. We still have an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay.
So
well,
we'll
let me
be able
go
to
into
get some questions then. Okay.
Yes. Okay then. All right. Before we go to questions, we still got an hour.
Yes.
Right? Okay, good. I'm on time. So let me go into a couple other things right here. Let me go. Another thing I did, I went and got what is called the Witch's Bible.
Yes.
By Janet and Stuart Farr. Let me get the name, because in there they got a lot of good naked pictures of this woman Janet and Stuart. It's called a Witch's Bible by Janet and Stuart Farrar. Farrar. Janet and Stuart Farrar. Farrar. Get that book and get that book. Hell, I put some of these. Believe it or not, and all this, just get the book, and you'll see in that particular book the rituals and the sky-clad stuff and stuff, real powerful stuff, and also and all of the motifs and stuff that they use is Egyptian motifs, and one of them is Janet is making the sign of Osiris. So just want to show you how they link this stuff back up. Now, let me go into a couple other things right quick that I want to deal with. Then we'll go to question and answer. All right. Because what we want to get into at this particular time is an aspect of this changing of the DNA and what the Maya blueprint is. Now, to go into this, we must understand this. We were once in the constellation of Orion, and there's several stories that go on, but we'll give you several variations. But we was in the constellation of Orion at one time. That used to be the original home of our star beginnings, and we were perfect. But once you reach perfection, the only way that you can expand beyond perfection is you have to devolve. So we created a cosmic fall, and we fell into physical bodies. And for the last umpteen million years, we've been working in these physical bodies to perfect, you see, that which couldn't be perfected. And in order to perfect something, you have to go into a hibernation. You have to go into a cocoon. You heard me talk about this a long time. So there was rumors and stories that we had to fall because we might have had some flaws, and we had to sift out those flaws. Anyway, whether we are perfecting perfection or whether we are going beyond the flaws, whatever it was, the last umpteen million years of human life has been just that. And by us being the original people on Earth, we're the oldest people on Earth at this particular time that could make that mutation happen because we were here in the beginning. So as a result, all the humans on the planet is connected to this. It's connected to this. Now, this is the key. So we went through this particular fall, and as a result of this particular fall, our original essence ended up falling into two DNA strands. The other DNA became what is called junk DNA. And junk DNA is none other than melanin.
Mm-hmm.
Is none other than melanin. So now let me explain a couple of things on what's happening. Is what's happening. Now the realm that we are in now, like we said, a great movie came out called The Matrix to explain that. So that's still a good starting point. But it's also called the technosphere. The technosphere. That's TECHNOPHEARE. Technosphere. There's a book came out in 2002 or 2001 called Time and the Technosphere. The technosphere is generally the matrix that we are in. Now, this matrix that we are in, this illusionary world that we are in, is created by junk DNA. In so many words, our melanin creates this matrix prison that we are in. So both the junk DNA and the connected DNA. So we have the junk DNA, which is disconnected from the DNA. Both the junk DNA or the connected DNA is constantly emanate a vibratory signals and pulses that transmit throughout our whole body mind, effectively creating a genetic hologram or in a 3D world around us. So this 3D world we call the matrix, we call it Maya, we call it illusion. The 3D collective consciousness hologram is created by junk DNA signals, which come to be known as the hologram created, or what is also be known as the technosphere. The technosphere matrix, the matrix of technology, human thought, and the collective consciousness of humanity is based on fear. It's based on fear. The so that's one thing. So we create this so our melanin there, because it's disconnected from the DNA, because you got a connected DNA, 2 strands, but you're supposed to have 10 other strands, something like that.
To go with it, yes.
Huh?
Yes. I was saying the 10 other strands to go with it.
Right, which is found on the Kabbalah, or the Tree of Life. Now, so this particular DNA strands, because we're supposed to have 12 or what have you, but it might be multiple DNAs within the 12. But it's about like the movie Fifth Element when they showed the girl, it was the fifth element, and they showed her DNA, and it was multiple. In so many words, that particular part is called junk DNA. Now, the technosphere is this, a minor representation of disconnected DNA patterns. Together, 2 forms create a virtual mirror net. When the initial manifest the external structures, which in turn keeps the masses of humanity bound and hypnotized in a 3D world. These structures are fed live off the negative emotions, body dysfunctions, and apparently unthinkable inherent family traumas and behaviors. So we have a multiple family traumas that's in us from generation to generation, and these DNA patterns, past, present, and future, is released from family and ancestral imprints.
Yes.
They go on forever. And these deep implants, we are all connected into this genetic fear, negative emotions, not only from us but from our past ancestors, because that's all melanin is ancestral material. Now, this is the key on this. So this is what's going on here. We failed. What was left behind was 2 DNA strands. The other DNA strand is called junk DNA, and that's called melanin. Now, or chaos in the blood. Now, the junk DNA creates the matrix around us based on how we are programmed it. And basically, it is created by a series of fear. So when we talk about the Illuminati, and that's why I tell people, get out of this old conspiracy stuff. Because when we talk about that, that is exactly what they want you to do. Because the more and more you deal with their agenda, the more and more you create the matrix around you. You see what I'm saying? Let's just say, if you say, well, that stuff doesn't exist, then it won't exist for you. It only exists when you get some people keep bombarding you with all this negative energy and all this fear, that your melanin creates the fear for you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So in so many words, what we have been doing, especially black people, we have been creating this world, or we have had some intruders come in and make our mind into the garbage that it is. And we create a world that supports their existence and enslaves our existence. But it's being created through the melanin, the junk DNA. You see what I'm saying? And stuff. So that's why we got to get out. And so the thing about it is the reason why we know this. All this Illuminati material and secret society and conspiracy stuff started coming out maybe on a mass around 1993 or 1994. They got bombarded, and we figured it out. We said, wait a minute, these are the so-called Illuminati and the people that we're getting these books from. They're the ones that putting these books out. Because the more and more you learn about the reality that you're in and you thinking you're learning about the conspiracy, the more and more you as black people create the matrix for the whole planet.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And the more negative things that you deal with is the more you create negative stuff for your life.
Yes.
So they keep news going. They keep all of this particular foolishness going, only so it can get into your junk DNA and you create it and sustain the rulership. You see where I'm coming from here?
Mm-hmm.
We are creating it. That's what the movie Revolver was about. With Guy Ritchie, the guy, Madonna's husband, who did the movie, and it had Andre 2000 in it. And at the end of the movie, Andre 3000, what have you, whatever that was, 2003, whatever. In the movie. At the end of the movie, they had all these metaphysics people, and they were all saying, they're all saying that the enemy is being created from the person, from your own mind.
Yes.
Your matrix, your junk DNA creates the world around you. You see what I'm saying? Now check it out. The distorted structures form energy from DNA and the family collective conscious level, guiding it into a supporting, ever-expanding technospherics matrix, literally feeding it with human life that forces it to grow. The distortions then become even more entrenched in the collective consciousness, feeding back into human DNA and creating a feedback loop of junk DNA pattern and a vicious cycle. Now, a vicious cycle. Now, let me get a few other things here. This is a paper, but you want to get the book to learn more about this matrix. Get the Time in the Technosphere is the name of the book. Together, the junk DNA contains the codes of self-initiation. Now, this is how we find ourselves out of this. Not only does the melanin create the matrix for you that you trapped in, but this melanin also has codes in it for self-initiation and liberation and illumination. So what it is the people that's listening tonight, the reason why you are conscious and your other people are not conscious, because over the years, we sent a few people that have this codes in their DNA. And once you hit those codes, you start to wake up. So together, the junk DNA contains codes of self-initiation. It mirrors the image in the technosphere matrix and create a single entity, an ancient mind of humanity. When we become aware of the distortions and transmute them, we can leave the ancient mind of mass consciousness behind. In order for humanity to begin a new phase of evolution, a new species will have to be born on Earth. This is the most important part. One is biologically and genetically different from the present-day humanity. In separation to become a whole Yeshua called separating the wheat from the chaff. We actually redeem our bloodlines in the practice. This means our mothers, fathers, daughters, sons separate generally from us because of our DNA changes. So this is what it's also saying. This is what it's also saying. Now, in order for this to happen, we got to create a new species. Well, I got good news tonight, because we're going to go to Henrietta Lacks for that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I got good news tonight. So now, we need a new species. Now, the first thing you got to do here is not physically, but you have to separate mentally from your relatives. The relatives is always the problem. The relatives are always the problem. The relatives are holding patterns of the present, the past, and the future, and in release of family ancestral spirits. These particular family members are holding all of the messed up stuff in our past that has come down to us. They're holding all the good stuff, but they're holding all the bad stuff.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? They're holding all the bad stuff. So you have to release that, but this is all mental. And now let me explain, because some people going, oh, Lord, I got work to do. No, you don't have work to do. Guess what? Your DNA is already doing it for you.
That's right.
It's already doing it for you. Now, what happens is this. Once this DNA starts to release, then the first thing starts to happen is once you rise to a certain level, you are connected to they call it the string theory. So you are connected to a chain of ancestral DNA that is connected to your families, is connected to that brother in jail, is connected to that rapist, is connected to all of them. So what's going to happen is this. You're saying, how are we going to get up out of this? You're going to get up out of this because the simple fact is this. They say, Jesus said, I will make a door for you. You are the Jesus, the Yeshua. It's an attainment of a people. Now, what's happening is this. When you start to raise your DNA, which you are doing right now just by listening to this show, you affect the brother in prison, you affect the brother on crack, you affect the mama, you see what I'm saying? You affect the daddy, you affect everybody. You even affect people that's dead, that's ancestors, because it's all in the ancestral DNA.
Yeah.
So the only people, don't worry about these people out here and how fucked up they are. The only people have to rise is the ones who came back with the codes. That's you. That's why you into the knowledge. You get where I'm coming from here? That's why you are into the knowledge. Which leads us to this. We're going to give you one exercise on how you're going to start doing this. but it's going to lead you to this. We go to Henrietta Lacks.
Yes.
All right. The girl said that wrote the book that she remembered somebody talking about they're taking this black woman's DNA. For the people who don't know the story, I think it was in 1954 or one of that time. This woman had ovarian cancer. She went to the doctors and she was dying or whatever. But what they did before she made the transition, they took her DNA, her cells. They took her cells and they grew them in a lab. And they have used these cells on every form of research in the world today, including they even took her cells out in space. Well, let me give you, so all of a sudden, this girl writes this book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. We get ready to break the code on you. The antenna always have to go up whenever they give you something. They don't give you shit, not unless there's a back door to it. So let me explain this. This girl, I don't know if she's in the late 30s or early 40s now, said that she had heard about this woman. They took her cells and grew them in a lab while she was at a college class, and she never forgot it, and so she got out and started doing the research. That's bull. Let me tell you something. What they do is this. What they do is, when they want to get information out, and they don't want it to be connected to the government or connected to a bigger conspiracy, they'll put one lone author out. Give her the research and then put the research out. But that's not the point. You want to ask, why is it coming out at this particular time? Well, let me explain what's going on here. They know that our DNA has been changing.
Right.
It started somewhere in the late 80s, and all through the 90s, our DNA has been changing. So what they did was, in the 2000s, they decided to start having you trace your ancestry, back to Africa or back to wherever. Just want to get inside your DNA. And so, real big, in the Caribbean and in England, they're tracing their ancestry, they got a whole drive to trace there. So, they gave Howard University about, I forgot how many millions of dollars to study about 1,500 black people's DNA. Gave the University of Alabama. They gave a bunch of schools this thing to study so many hundreds of black people's DNA. Now, this is what the deal is. So now, once they study this stuff and once they track this stuff, they're trying to find out what is it that make us tick? What is it why our DNA is changing? What is it why this new species is being developed? So what they do is the research of tracking the DNA in the changing DNA, they call it the HeLa cell research. Now, the HeLa cell is named after Henrietta Lacks. So this is a very clever job. This is what you do. First of all, Henrietta Lacks is just one person. So what they do is they'll give you one person and make you think that her genes is different than anybody else's.
Right.
Meanwhile, they have been studying millions of people, but they only make one person official to throw you off. See, the story of Henrietta Lacks is the story of millions of black people, but they only give you one person because they got to come out with it now. So in so many words, they've been studying millions of black people. That's why most of your major universities are around ghettos and around the black community, because the black community is the guinea pigs. They are the specimens. You see what I'm saying? And all these free clinics and all this type of stuff. So this is the deal. They have been studying our stuff for a while. They really got on after World War II, after they found out how to isolate a lot of stuff during the Nazi Germany / United States Britain matrix of a summit. It was a summit to find out, to break the codes of DNA, melanin, and all of this. So right by the 1950s is the time when they started using black people basically to track their cells, but they only give you one person, and that's the key. That's the dupe. You thinking it's one person, it's everybody, and her cells is no different than any other black people's cells. You see what I'm saying? But they call it the HeLa cell because of the simple fact that they want you to just think it's one special thing. And see, this is what they can do. They can hide the last 60 years of black genetic research up under one woman. So when they say we are dealing with the HeLa cell or Henrietta Lacks, you don't understand that Henrietta Lacks is just an icon or a code so that they can discuss the last 60 years of black research openly. They just explain it under the HeLa cell or Henrietta Lacks. Do you get where I'm coming from? See, this is a way you put out the book, you introduce the people to it, and you go, now we can discuss all of the 60 to 70-year research we have been, and maybe longer than that, but we know they really got pumping after World War II. So we can discuss all of the 70-year research that we've been doing on black person under the skies of one black woman.
That's it.
You see what I'm saying? Now, this is the key. This is the key. And you go, well, we know they've been doing this, but what is the deal? Why is this so important that you release this now? Because this is it. You got to get the Nexus magazine that's on the stands now. Volume 17, number 3. They didn't even put her name on the front cover. I got the magazine because they was talking about high fructose corn syrup and the dangers of high fructose corn syrup that we've been involved in and stuff like that. So I got the magazine for that and just so happened to stumble on the HeLa cell, the HeLa cell research. Let me see if I can find the page right quick. And there's one thing, and I said, there it is. The code was broken when I stumbled up on this one little thing. Because, your ears and your eyes always got to be open. Well, let me get this one little part right here. the HeLa cells, the immortal HeLa cells, a viral voodoo. That's very interesting. HeLa is H-E, Henrietta, Lax, L-A, HeLa cell. It's named after a Scandinavian goddess called the HeLa goddess, and she's a goddess of the underworld. She's a goddess of the underworld. I think that didn't Panic do some stuff on the Scandinavian gods?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Valhalla and what's that, Ragnarok and the Thor? Didn't he do some stuff on that? A couple. Did. Okay, then. There's a goddess that comes out of that pantheon called HeLa. And you go on the internet. So they even is even a goddess named after that and stuff like that. And I even got a picture of her on my Memphis video. So, and look at this, the witch's brew, origin of immortal HeLa cells. So they're going into all of this particular stuff, but this is the part that was the kicker. Due to the ability to replicate and identify, immortal HeLa cells are now considered by some geneticists to be a contemporary creation of a new species. And there you have it. You see, this is what they are doing. The new species is here. It's not the HeLa cell that they're telling you. It's all black cells. They just named it one to throw you off.
Yes.
So let's rephrase this. The black cells, especially in the United States, the black cells, now let's rephrase this, are now considered to be a new species. So what happens is this. Let me explain it to you. You know that there's a new species coming in. You know that the new species, you call them aliens. But the aliens been here for thousands of years since we came from the Orion galaxy. Orion and Osiris. Osiris falls into a cocoon or gets shut up in a box into a physical body. Another story. But it's now been millions of years, and now we're replicating into new species. But we need to discuss this. And how can we discuss this new species, this new alien species coming, and we can't call it African Americans? We can't call it black people. We can't call it Africans. We can't call it Caribbean. You see, we have to call it the HeLa cell, the HeLa research. And that's the way they can get away with discussing stuff about you. Now, the HeLa cell and the new species in Kabbalah is called Tikkun. And it's called Tikkun in Kabbalah. In ancient Egypt, it's called Mayat. The Mayat blueprint. The HeLa cell, we'll take that, that's a goddess. Or the black cell, you see what I'm saying? The black cell is the Mayat, or they call it Tikkun, the Mayat blueprint. Now, this is the key. We always explain this. Well, why America and why us? It's because when they brought the slaves from Africa, the ones in Brazil, the ones in South America, the Caribbean, they brought maybe 2 or 3 types, and they had big lots, and they could and those big types, as far as masses of people that they brought, was enough to overthrow some of the slave master, the Maroon Society, and they had all these slave rebellions. One of your last ones was your one in Haiti. You see what I'm saying? So what they did in America to avoid that, they brought smaller lots and they mixed them up. So you mix them up by languages and culture. So as a result, we have every origin of cells in us, or DNA in us, from the African continent, and then when you mix it in with white, Native Americans, and everything else over here, you got a super atom. You see, so as a result, our cells replicated faster. You see, replicated faster. Now, all of the cells are replicating, turning into new species. You see what I'm saying? But that's what happened to African-American stuff, because they had all this stuff. Now, even the people in Haiti. Now, when they did the book Voodoo in Haiti by Milo Regard, he counted 15 different African tribes that went into making the voodoo. By the time Reginald Crossley's book, Voodoo Quantum Leap, comes out in 2000, he has counted at least 22 African tribes, or 25 African tribes by 2000 and stuff. So each tribe represents a set of DNA. And the more unique person that exemplify that most than anybody is the ones in America, because they really carved us up. But as a result, we got everything in us, including white.
Yes.
You see, including white. So this is what they're doing. They want to talk about this healer cell because, so what it is they had to put out this Henrietta Lacks book to put out the actual system of the scientific method of talking about the transformation us into this new species. So they put out her book, you see, to get people acclimated into the science, and then they can go in and talk about the science by talking about it under the healer cell by not saying, hey, this is just a black cell. You see what I'm saying? Like that. So this is how this particular thing is going on, and that's the key. But that's good news because it means that our stuff is replicating so fast until they are forced to come out with it. You see what I'm saying? They're just using this particular Henrietta Lacks science to discuss it. But it's on the fringe, and that's what's happening. That's why Bar Sisi is a dead man living in Philadelphia, but walking around having a good time because it's replicated. I told him, I said, you don't realize you're another species now, so it don't, those particular cells, those particular glands in your body don't have to work. Because the simple fact, you're being operated from an alien entity. You see what I'm saying? An alien entity. Now, how much time we got? Let me give you the last thing to get this thing to start working.
Yes, we got an hour and 9 minutes to go live, yes. But we do have some time to be able to record after that if we go over. So well, let me go into a few things. This will only take a few minutes to get this stuff to work. In us, the melanin, the original melanin, is called techim, heavy star material. Techim, heavy star material. You could also get this found in the book The Serious Mystery by the Serious Mystery by Robert Temple. He was one of the first people to translate some of Budge's works and find this out. It's Techim, Tekem. Let me see if I can find another way to pronounce it. There's a book out called Techim, but it's a magical book. But Techim, and all the pharaohs hold a head of Set Typhon on their staff called the Techim scepter, and it means heavy star material. Now, this is what this is talking about, and this is how you can get stuff to replicate even faster for the ones, because believe it or not, it's the string theory. You are the ones, because you are conscious now, you are the ones that is going into that particular evolution as we speak. That's why we're here tonight. Now, this is what this is about. Techim is called heavy star material. That is nothing but the melanin, the DNA inside of us. Now, in the book of the law, that was received a transmission from an angel named Awas by Aleister Crowley in 1904, and he gave him this particular book of the law. The first chapter of the book of the law, it says every man and every woman is a star. Well, that's what we are, because Techim means heavy star material. Every man, every woman is a star. Now, this is what gets things to going faster so you can get beyond this thing. We're nothing but stars. Now, stars out there, every star in that universe has its own unique shape. It has its own unique orbit. No star is in the same orbit as the other star. It has its own orbit, own unique patterns, own unique everything. And that's what we are. But the problem here is we can't get past personality. There it is.
To line up with the orbit of our star path, which would automatically line up the DNA. Because we are thinking that we are humans and thinking that we are personalities. You see what I'm saying? When we are actually stars getting ready to orbit. You see? Getting ready to orbit. So, what it is, you need to get the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley, and you need to read the first chapter every day for a month. Every day for a month. or you can go online and download it. The Book of the Law is called Liber Al Legis, Aleister Crowley. And you could go on and download the Book of the Law, because it's a small book. It's only so many chapters. And so you can download it, but read the first chapter where it says every man, every woman is a star. And that's what we are. We are a group of stars that took on a human experiment the word I want to say is to go beyond perfection.
Right.
And so we are these particular stars, but we have been trapped into thinking that we are humans because we have led a human life for umpteen million years, or umpteen thousand years. So as a result, we don't know that we were originally stars with our own orbits. So in so many words, what you have to do is go beyond personality.
Yes.
You see, go beyond personality, and in order to do that, you see, so throw out any blueprint on what you think you are human.
That's right.
You see, and let that star erupt. You see, erupt. So read the first, you go online and download the Book of the Law, read the first chapter. There's 3 other chapters. There's 2 other chapters, because there's 3 chapters in all. But the first one is dealing with Newt, the unveiling of the company of heaven. So Newt is unveiling these stars.
Yes.
And so you need to find out, you need to try to get a notion of yourself being a star. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, that will jumpstart the species. That will jumpstart the species.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Right on time.
Right on time. Now,
right on time.
One other thing, too. Now, one other thing. Everybody been talking about this 2012.
Yes, please.
2012. Now, if you look for the date, you're going to be disappointed. We are in 2012 now.
Yes.
But we now found out what the Mayans was talking about. When they were talking about 2012, they weren't talking about a date, because dates are artificial. They just put a date so that you can estimate around the time. They knew humans, and we got this linear way of looking at things. So they had to put a date, but it was a cycle, and we're in the cycle now. Like I say, I'm talking to you right now as a 2012 event. You understand what I'm saying? But you saying, well, what's going to happen on 2012? What's going to happen on 2012? Well, what's going to happen during 2012, which is a cycle? The 2012 they're talking about is a consciousness.
Yes.
A new consciousness coming in. And that new consciousness is coming in because some of us became conscious a couple of years before, and as a result, by us working with our consciousness, and our consciousness is connected with a DNA chain, what is getting ready to happen is you get ready to have more people's consciousness rise to another level, thus speeding up this process of a new species. So the 2012, just remember, they're talking about a consciousness, and that consciousness is going on now because we're talking about it now. Now, a few things you want to do. We had a full moon the other day.
We sure did.
So the Friday after the full moon, which the full moon was when, Tuesday or Wednesday, or one of those. But anyway, the Friday after the full moon is a good time for you sisters and you brothers, if you want to do a love ritual. Because Friday is the day of Venus.
Yes.
It's the day of Heru, the goddess of love, Lakshmi, Oshun. So for you people that want to get lucky in love, you want to do a love ritual on this Friday. You see, it's the Friday after the full moon. It's the brother Andrew called me up, and told me about this, and he also said there's a whole ritual in the book called Dictionary of Angels by Gustav Davison on that. But for those people who don't have that book or whatever, on page 359, Gustav Davison's book, the Dictionary of Angels, we're just gonna give you one that was on my London video, and you can do this. We're gonna do for you ones that want to deal with this love thing. You want to do a ritual to Oshun, because she is one of the goddess of love. So want to do a ritual to Oshun on Friday, and her day is Friday. So what you want to do is you want to get a yellow piece of paper, like a little strip, cut it off real nice, yellow strip of paper, and you want to get a magic marker. You want to get a marker, but make sure that the marker is permanent, because you don't want nothing fading. You see what I'm saying? So any kind of permanent little felt tip, a permanent tip pen, You see, make sure it's permanent. Don't make sure it's water-based because you don't want it fading. And you want to write Oshun, that's O-S-H-U-N, and you also want to write the word Osho right beside that, Oshun, Osho. That's O-S-H-O. So Oshun, Osho. You want to write that at the top of the little piece of paper. You want to put your name and the person that you want to get with. Or you can say, it don't necessarily have to be a name of a person. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes we choose our lovers badly. You see what I'm saying? You know, we don't choose them wisely. So you can put Oshun. If there is a cool person that you think is on the up and up, you can put their name, and then you just put like love, happiness, and togetherness. And you can just put a nice person. You see what I'm saying, that you want. You know, it has to be a person. It can actually be someone that you might want to meet. So you put that on the piece of paper. Then you take the piece of paper and you put it in a jar of honey. You put it in a jar of honey. And then you go to a river of running water. And then you want to get that river of running water and you want to pour a little bit of that honey into the river. Then you put the cap back on it with your paper inside, and you go, Oshun, Osho. What will be, will be. And then you cast that honey into the running water. So you got to go someplace where there's a stream or what have you, and you cast the jar of honey in the running water once you put the top back on it. So do that one. You can do that one on Friday. For those other ones, the Gustav Davidson's book, page 359. There's some rituals that the brother Andrew told me about. I'm trying to see if I can find my book right quick. It's to give you the complete name of it, but it's Gustav Davis' book on Dictionary of Angels. Both I think it's this Dictionary of Angels, Gustav Davison. It's the definitive text. Yeah, so you want to do that. So, that's another one. You can use, that's another one. Linda just reminded me of this one. You can use this love ritual just to open up your heart chakra. Because if you open up your heart chakra, you would automatically find the right person to come to you.
That's right.
You see, so that's what you might want to do. You might want to not choose somebody, and stuff like, like the comedian said the other night, you choose the right man because he look a certain way and he Chris Brown's your ass. You see, so you might just want to say to do a ritual to open up your heart chakra, which will automatically bring love to you. You see what I'm saying? And some people need to find love within that surpasses human and physical love.
There it is.
You see what I'm saying? So we're going to deal with that. So with that in mind, let me see if I got a few other things and we can go to a question and answer.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. We're live in the remix, everyone, with Brother Bobby Hemmitt right here, and the remix family. 646-652-2711 is the number to call if you have a question for Brother Bobby. We have about 58 minutes left to go in the forum here. To contact Brother Bobby Hemmitt, all you have to do is call 678-358-1055. Yeah, beautiful.
All right.
Whew, lots of information here, lots of things to come, and lots of great information. And you're right, opening up your fourth chakra, that is definitely where the work needs to go, and filling that. That is the way you're going to get into all of these different levels. You talked about this as well, too. Spiritual levels, love levels, working with the heart is where we need to go first. So you guys make sure you do that ritual, and don't forget to get the picture packet before October the 13th.
Yeah, and the October 14th. October 16th. 16th. And you want to especially want to get the stimulus package. You see what I'm saying? Because it's going to really kick in. When Ganesha opened the gate and that statue started dripping that milk, I was like, what is this? And then I realized, I said, okay, all of this is going into the Diwali festival. So anybody who has that particular, that if you already have it, good. You see what I'm saying? You already have it, good. It's just, but it's going to really kick into some turbo stuff, for prosperity. If you don't have it, try to get this thing before the 16th also.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
But
yes.
believe me, the picture packet, also comes complete with the goddess Lakshmi. And you want to deal with it on that day, it comes with Ganesha. And we now have one of the only existing pictures of the god Zarabanda. Those people know about the whole Palo thing and stuff. So we got a lot of stuff that's going on. That's going on. Great warrior goddess is celebrated on the 14th of October. Name is Durga, and so she's the East Indian form of Sekhmet. So that's a Kundalini goddess, and she's a goddess of protection. We even got a nice new picture of Durga in the package. So let's deal with some callers, I guess.
All right, here we go. We're going to go to the phone line, 646-652-2711, for those of you who have questions for Brother Bobby Hemmitt. So we're going to go to the phone line. We're going to go to the caller, it looks like coming in from area code 661. You are live at the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
I'm Sundiata from California. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks for listening.
Also, like I said, I want to give a shout-out to Panic. I want to give a shout-out to the brother Gemini. You had him on your show.
Oh, yes. Chief Rocka.
Yes, Pete. And I want to give a shout-out, and you all need to download his show and see what he's talking about. And I think he put his website or email on there also.
Yes, he did. He did. And a lot of people have contacted Chief Rocka, Gemini, the brother that came on as well. And I'm sure he'll be visiting us again.
Yes, and tell him to come on back and don't delay. Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful. We're going to go to the caller, looks like calling in from area code 832. You are live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Houston, Texas.
All right. Greetings. You got a question for Brother Bobby?
Oh, yeah. All right. My name wasn't prepared. I didn't know I was going to get on that. How you doing, Miss Blue? How you doing, Bobby?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, I was on the show Friday. I gave it a little ritual or whatnot, but and I had a question. Like, I'm actually in Houston, and we don't have like no kind of really conscious movement to my knowledge, and I was wondering do you have any idea? I mean, actually, I want to get something going myself. It's just for knowledge, you know what I mean, to get you out here or whatnot.
Like I said, well, you can call that number.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what to do to go by setting up a lecture.
The 678 number.
Yeah.
The 678 number.
That's enough. You can use that number also to contact me to set up lectures. And I'll tell you how to go about it and all of that. But also I want to say there was a group. There was a group I used to come every the brother Tony. Brother Tony or Brother Ogun in Houston. And I used to come every year. So there are people there. You see what I'm saying? There are people there.
Because, like, I mean, and you're right. I mean, the energy's been crazy. A lot of people been waking up, because of the 2012 cycle. And, like, I got an apartment. And I have a lot of my homies that be coming over. And my apartment getting too small for all that.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, I hear you. Yeah. Well, you could be the new doorway into getting me to come or whatever, and you can get together. But I tell you, we'll discuss all that because it's really simple.
It ain't no ego tripping. I need this food. You know what I mean? It's not.
Oh no. This is your information. Shit, you trying to retrieve your own information. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You see what I'm saying? This is your information. I'm just disseminating it. And that's how it's always been. You see?
Sure.
Yes. Okay.
All right, beautiful. Thanks for calling in. All right, we're going to continue on calling in, it looks like, from 773. You are live in the remix.
Yeah, this is, am I on?
Yes, you are.
All right. The ironic thing about today, I heard you mention Anthony Brown, I think.
Anthony Brown?
Earlier,
about who?
I heard Anthony Brown and had introduced some form of thing for diabetes, I think it was.
Oh no, his name was Andrew Brown.
Okay, but I want to know one thing. My name's Anthony Brown. Anyway, I'm from Chicago, by way of North Carolina. Since I've been learning about my spirituality and about all the things that you have been teaching me and all the other great people have been teaching me, it seems like I have actually went all the way to rock bottom on the physical level. I'm now just rock bottom. I'm actually sleeping in my car.
Financial?
Everything, but my I did have high blood pressure. I no longer have it anymore.
Yeah, but let me tell you what happens when you become conscious like that. The first thing you do is, financial things happen. Financially, things happen, and also all types of things happen. And what the Spirit is trying to do is trying to acclimate you to start living a magical life, other than being dependent on social and a physical and economic life. Now, that economics will come back, but they want to bring it to you in all different things a certain way. They want to acclimate you into another world. You see what I'm saying? So that's what that is. It clears out the way. It clears out the way so that you can start living another thing, and that way you can operate and your minds can start thinking spiritually. But it can't do that until you are purged from several things that your everyday life brought. You see what I'm saying? So that's exactly what happens. That's a form of initiation. Yeah, that's a form of initiation. So if you just stay the course, it'll get better. But what it's trying to do is acclimate you into a new world and stuff like that, a new world and stuff. See, what happens is this here. Your paradigm shifts when you come into consciousness.
Yeah.
So the certain methodologies that used to bring you success in the old world, you can't use those same methodologies because the simple fact your essence and your whole vibration has changed. So you got to be acclimated into another methodology.
Yeah.
And to get it to work for you. So just stay the course, but keep studying. That's the key. Because the more you keep studying and stuff, you'll get the hang of it. And you'll get the hang of it, and a certain world will function around you. Certain world will function around you, and it'll be acclimated and conducive to the level that you're on. But you got to go through that right now. It's a purging of one world to the next world.
Wow.
Yes. All right.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to give out Brother Bobby Hemmitt's number again. A couple of you still want to know the number. The number is 678-358-1055, and that's the number to contact Brother Bobby. If you have a question, I'm going to encourage you to definitely call in on the phone line. Press 1 for me so that we can get to your calls. Calling in next, it looks like a caller calling from area code 908. You are live in the remix. Please tell us who you are.
Well, I guess that's me. I'm V, and I'm calling in from New Jersey.
Okay, thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. But I was thinking about the man that you said got hit by the car.
Yeah.
He is already dead. So I think if he is very dead, did he orbit already?
No. He is living. He's living. So see what happens is this. You have two heartbeats. You have a spiritual. This is a good question. You have two heartbeats. You have a spiritual heartbeat and you have a physical heartbeat. The physical heartbeat takes care of your physical body. Then you have another heartbeat that's a spiritual heartbeat, and it is the heartbeat of your soul. You see. And so what happens here is, as you become conscious, that heartbeat becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And what it will do here is it will cancel out your other heartbeat. It will cancel out your other heartbeat. And so what happens is it starts to run your body. I don't know who the hell this is calling my damn number, but anyway, it starts to it will take over, and what it'll start doing, it'll start running your body. So what it is that's your spiritual body is running your body. So it's a whole thing, and all of that comes with the rising of the Kundalini energy. One entity takes over another one. So the brother is still alive. I talked to him today. I'm talking about he's still alive and he functions on an advanced level. It's just that, you see what I'm saying, he went through what is called life in death. That's the whole thing. And so that's what the whole Kundalini stuff is about. It's a series of the new body coming in, new cells, new bodies. New Testament, Old Testament, old body, new body. Old Testament, New Testament. So that's what that thing is talking about. It's the Christ energy, and that's what it is. You see.
Bobby,
yes.
Do you know when I had my second son, they said I was dead for 15 minutes. Doctors were coming in from everywhere. But I was sitting there as they talked to me. And so when you mentioned this man getting hit by this car, but he's still living, is that anything like that? I didn't have any
No, he didn't die physically. No, he got up from the car wreck and walked 5 blocks.
Yeah, so his spirit...
He didn't even know he was hit.
Yes.
Of course, he was inebriated. That's, you rich people get inebriated and poor people get plain old drunk. But he was just tore up. But nevertheless, you see what I'm saying? Yes, but you did go through a series of deaths. Let me tell you another thing, too. You did die. Do you know you ever was doing something and it was almost a close call, and you go, whoa, that car almost hit me. Whoa, I almost fell off them stairs, could have broke my neck.
Yeah.
You did. You did die when you do that. But what had happened was is you make a decision.
Yes.
You make a decision that you don't want to go right now. So as a result, it doesn't occur. But you did die. We all do this thing, but we make these decisions. And a lot of times, believe it or not, when the person don't come back and actually die, that's because they make the decision because they're tired of it.
They was ready to go.
They was ready to go. Like Michael Jackson. Remember, I think you was telling me about the sister that you know said that Michael said that he was tired. But Sister Blue, wasn't you telling me about that?
Yes.
One of his nurses and stuff. And he got the hell on out of Dodge. But a lot of times, a lot of close calls you have, you do die. You die several times. And each one of those times was a form of initiation into a new realm. You see what I'm saying? A new realm. And a lot of people, after they die, they say, well, stuff ain't working like it used to be. That's because you're not who you used to be. And you got to acclimate yourself to a new way of thinking.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So, yeah, you did go through a death when that happened. Yes. Well, that's all right, sister.
Beautiful.
And now you conscious.
Born again.
That's right. You born again.
Thank you both so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
All right. We're going to continue on. Looks like a caller calling in from area code 404. You're live in the remix.
Hello.
404. You have a question for Brother Bobby?
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh.
How you doing, Bobby? My name is Dre. I'm calling from Atlanta, man.
Yeah, okay.
And I've been doing a lot of research myself lately, and I had came across a spell, and I'm not as sure what it says. I want to know maybe if I could say a few words of it. Maybe you can tell me what it is or where it come from.
What are the few words?
At the top of it says massive chaos. And it has.
Where did you get the spell from?
I got it off of the internet.
Okay. So that's some stuff. Yeah. Okay, that's a spell.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. That's a system called chaos magic, and there's a lot of spells. Yes, a lot of spells on there on chaos magic, and they have a lot of those particular spells. I would suggest not to use a spell just to see does it work. You're only supposed to use a spell if you have something that you need done.
Okay.
And then you need to find out whether that spell deals with it. But just to do some stuff just in case, you see what I'm saying? That's not really wise to do. Only do spells when you have something that's done.
Okay.
Now, that might be a good one, that master chaos. That might be a good one if you go into court. You need some shit to happen. You need to go off chaos in the room the next day. Then that'll be a good one for that. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
But always do this if you decide to do it. After you do the spell you doing, always say in your own words what you want.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And that way you have the power. You direct the spell to work for you. Yes. But not just to do a spell just to see whether it's working and stuff like this. This is not it's not some fairy tale or child's thing. It's actually applied energy. So but now we have the power. If whatever you do, always be specific of what you want.
Yes.
Okay.
What you want, and never do a spell to harm anybody, because you're going to only harm yourself.
Okay.
Because we famous for that. You know, we had all these damn roots and all this magical stuff we had after slavery, and we used them more on black people than we ever did in the middle of the South, where they had Jim Crow and they was hanging people every day. And we never used no spells to curtail that, but we use them on each other. But one of the things about it is never use a spell to harm anybody, because what it is you. That's like getting into a phone booth with a hand grenade. You the one that's going to get blown up.
Yep.
You see, you the one that's going to get blown up. So always be specific on what you use a spell for and stuff.
Okay.
But if you be specific, you can make it your own, and you can take it out of the mind of the person who created it for what they created it for. You make it your own.
You use it for yourself. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
for yourself, like I said. You might want to quote that if the man get behind you.
Okay.
You like that?
Thing
No, you know what I'm saying? Y'all
like,
might end up eating breakfast together or some shit.
I've been trying to figure out what's been going on for like these last couple of days up here in Atlanta, right? Because it's like the thing came out today with Eddie Long. He finally came out and he spoke or whatever.
Yeah, well, all that is nothing but the walls are come tumbling down.
Okay,
which I'm glad you said, and that which made me say something that I was going to forget. If you notice now how black people are not creative like they used to be, all the songs are made from other songs.
They sound the same. They clone
and all this kind of thing here. What that is a reason. The reason why we are deteriorating and all of our stuff sound the same and stuff like that, because we used to create this matrix around us with the junk DNA out of melanin. Now what's happening, our creative abilities are shutting down, and because we're not creating on this realm, now the matrix is breaking up. It's breaking up. You see, it's breaking up. There's a thing you can go get it at Blockbuster. You can go get it at Walmart, Best Buy, any of these places. It's a 6-hour series called The Prisoner, and called The Prisoner. It's own thing. It's done by the same guy who did the Jesus Christ thing. Passion of the Christ. The same guy who played Jesus. Yeah, he's playing in this thing, and he's in a village. That's a world. Everybody in the world think that they live there, and he's the only one that woke up and realized he don't know where he came from, but he know that's not his home.
Okay.
But the village, he know that's not his home. But the village is being created by this guy who's running the village. His wife is dreaming it, and they keeping her asleep. But as the wife woke up one time, and and her consciousness woke up, she stopped creating it, and it started having these big holes start coming in the ground. These big holes started opening up. That's the matrix breaking up that way. So get that movie, The Prisoner.
The Prisoner.
It's The Prisoner.
Okay. I had one more thing that I noticed today, and I wanted you to elaborate.
We got other people we got to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, then. All right. I appreciate it, Bobby. All right.
All right, then.
All right. Thanks for calling in. All right. We're going to continue on and go to the next caller calling in. It looks like caller calling in from area code 516. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Make sure you turn your speakers off for us,
let me
please.
get mute. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Brother Bobby. Good to talk to you, man. Been listening to you for a while now.
Yes.
So I'm honored and a privilege, man, to actually talk to you. So my question concerns Merkaba and the photon belt. Basically, in some of my research, coming to understand, I guess, a little bit about 0 point, human residence, etc.
Yeah.
And basically...
remember, all of that stuff, photon belt and Merkaba, you got to find out what that means on the inner planes, the inner body. Okay. Not outward. That's a hologram. That ain't nothing but a bunch of, you see. That's why we're the stars. So you got to find out what the Merkaba is. The Merkaba is still a form of the pineal gland.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Photon belt is this astro light or whatever type thing started coming into the atmosphere. It could also be a form of kundalini. So anything that you learn outward, try to find out what the inner aspects of that is. Like, take, for instance, everybody's talking about Nibiru. Nibiru is translated Neb Heru, and it just means the pineal gland. Exactly. But everybody's looking for the lost planet, But as above, so below. As within, so without. You see, as within, so without. So always when you're dealing with those things, the neophyte think it's an outward thing. The high priest understand that these are inner things that's actually happening.
Yeah.
That's inner things that's actually happening and stuff like that. So the 0 point, that ain't nothing but, again, the black dot pineal gland. These are things that can be explained outwardly for certain concepts, but the ultimate meaning to get this stuff to work for you, all of that stuff is on the inside of us. That's why I try to tell people to get this book, The Revelations of St. John, The Path to Soul Initiation, by Zachary F. Lansdowne. Zachary, Zachary, F. period, Lansdowne. L-A, I guess that's how to pronounce it. I do the Ebonics thing. Lansdowne. The Revelation of St. John, The Path to Soul Initiation. Understanding the true meaning of the apocalypse. So you want to get that particular book because that book is going to break down several concepts, but it's always going to come back on the inside of you. So that's some stuff to deal with on that particular level.
Second part to that question, I was just in the backyard the other night, right before that full moon actually, and understanding the as above, so below principle, I'm noticing in the sky, probably east, west, north, south, rotating lights.
Those are the ships. But remember now, those ships, and I talked about this on the, not the last one, but the one before that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those ships are us. And what I mean by that is this. You have a certain chakra system in your body.
Okay.
Now, let's say if I was to die tonight, you see what I'm saying, physically, what would happen if you look for me, I would be up in the star as a rotating lights with yellow, green, and blue and stuff like that. That would be my chakra system rotating. So those particular things you seeing out there are entities, but they have trained us on the physical UFO stuff, you see, for the past 50 years. You see what I'm saying? And we don't understand the angels or the gods are the aliens, and the ships and the ship. That's why you will see the Egyptian gods on what is celestial barks. Well, you see what I'm saying? And is it not written in your law of year, God? So what it is those things you were seeing out there used to be people that was on the earth, and they raised themselves up and illuminated themselves. It could have been advanced monks and priests and stuff like that. Not priests as far as anything. I'm talking about high priests like Egyptian priests or advanced monks and different things like that. And when they left, they are able, because of their consciousness, to be those stars out there or be those pulsating lights.
Now, does it reflect on my level of consciousness as I feel myself rising?
For the mere fact that you can see them, is the simple fact here is that they are communicating with you. You can communicate with them in meditation, and a lot of times when you see them, when I've always asked them, well, why are you up there? They say, we're always up here for protection. That's first. So they're always up there for protection. You see what I'm saying? That's first. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what that's about,
Cool.
So it's all good, man.
All right. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to continue on here, calling in from area code. It looks like another caller calling in from area code 713. You are live in the remix.
Hello?
Yes, greetings.
Hi, Ms. Blue. Hi, Brother Boston.
Yeah.
I'm calling in to ask, I've been seeing a lot of 13s and 23s and 33s, and I was wondering if that had anything to do with the Christ energy or something that has to do with the devil energy.
Well, there ain't no such thing as no devil.
Well, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Devil and the Christ is one and the same. Depends on where you're born and what your perspective is. There's two sides to one coin and stuff, so you need to get out of that whole Christian mentality and stuff like that. That's the first thing. I did a whole thing on Underground Railroad on the history of that thing about 2-3 months ago. So go and get that whole thing on that whole devil thing, and you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna answer your question, but that leads me to this whole thing of, because they got this tape out saying that Beyonce and all these black people give blood sacrifice to the Baphomet, and this asshole don't even know what the Baphomet is. The Baphomet ain't nothing but a symbology of the Moors and the Knights Templars when they wanted to venerate their masters, they created the Baphomet from the Greek god Pan, because the Moors were called the Blackamoors, and the black planet is Saturn, and Saturn is Capricorn, and Capricorn is the goat. It's a whole astrological aspect of things and stuff. And so this asshole here is coming around talking about a blood sacrifice to the Baphomet, like the Baphomet is some person up under the ground that need blood, and the Baphomet is nothing but a symbol of the black man.
Yes.
That's all it is. But see, he can do that because most people is trained in the spookism in Christianity based on that. So if you get that out of your mind, that old devil shit. The devil means double, doppelganger. Diabol, two balls. The devil is nothing but the second part of your soul that you don't know. You see what I'm saying? It's always two sides to one coin. To one coin. So that's what that is about. If I take a light and strike a match and put it up to a white wall, the soot that you see off the damn match on the white wall is the soot that's being produced from the light. That's melanin, and that's what the devil is, the shadow.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So on that particular level, so most of those things, those everything, every number is infinite, and especially if they're double numbers, they're master numbers. It's talking about anytime you get a double number, it's talking about your own soul. It's talking about the part of you that's waking up. And that's when it'll come coded in those things, because even melanin is broke down on a numerical value. So whenever you see those things, they're talking about your own soul. And they're talking about a part of yourself that you are coming to know. You're coming to know, but you got to study. And you got to get out of this old, you can't study from a Christian perspective. Dump everything you knew up to now and start new. Your cup is running over. You see what I'm saying? You got to get these concepts out of the way. You see what I'm saying? Those concepts are made for fear. You see, so on that particular level. So that's what those things are talking about. You see?
All right.
Okay, brother. All right.
All right, we're going to continue on. We're going to go to the phone lines. Caller calling in, it looks like from a private number. Greetings. Do you have a question for Brother Bobby?
Yes, I do. My number is 711. I see it constantly. The computer, clock at work. Mm-hmm. Every time I look at the clock, it's 711. Also, I ran into a lady probably about 2 years ago. I don't even know her. She just came up to me and told me to do some ritual to get this spirit out of my house. And at the time, I wasn't really conscious as I am now. Mm-hmm. And I thought she was pretty weird or whatever. And she then told me and my family member that was with me, she said, she looked at me, she said, she's a deity. So you need, whatever she needs, you need to make sure you basically help her out or whatever. And I didn't really understand what she meant by that, and I just wanted to know. And also, being from a kid, as early as probably 12 to 13, I would always hear that I was going to die when I was 26. So
and how old are you now?
I'm sorry?
How old are you now? Huh?
I'm 36 now.
And you died,
so
you're supposed to die when you're 26.
Before, when I turned 26, I was nervous. Am I going to die?
No, what it means, and if you didn't die, it meant that you were supposed to die to the old. I died at 27. That's the same year Osiris died. I died at 27, and the only thing I could do is study this particular information. I walked away from $1 million career. Just sat in the house and didn't even call the contacts back. I was already in there. I had worked on it all of the 80s and actually made it in the system and everything. I was already designing shoes for the man, so I was already working for the people, and had a warehouse down here in Atlanta. They're gonna put my name on Lenox Square Mall. I had Robert Hemmitt shoes. Had all of that stuff, and walked away. A year later, I hadn't even contacted the man. And they had the money and everything ready. You see what I'm saying? So I died. The only thing I could do was this. And then I found out later, years later, that the Spirit said we had to work around the clock to get you out of that because you're supposed to be doing what you're doing now. So you died, but you died from an old to new. So if you're conscious now, which means I don't care how long it took you to get here, you died just so you can be where you are right now learning this stuff. And everybody's had some type of experiences, either traumatic experiences or mishaps or detours. You see what I'm saying? And detours and stuff like that. So if nothing happened, maybe if it was a deity, then if it was a deity in your house, then you might need to build an altar to that deity. If
well, no, she told me that I needed to get this spirit, out of my house to do this ritual, which I didn't do. But she in that same conversation, she stated that I was a deity, and I that kind of threw me. I didn't know what she meant by that. Are you still living in the house? Are you still living in the house? Yes. Okay, then in that case, get you some Crayolan. If it's good, it's got to leave. If it's good, it'll stay. If it's bad, it's got to leave. There's some stuff called Crayolan. And you mop. You got wood floors or carpet? No, it's carpet. Well, just mop everything that's wood. Okay. And stuff. Mop your bathroom. Mop your kitchen. And it's called Crayolan. Crayolan. And you get that, and you put that smell like how do you spell Crayolan? CRELO. Let me get the damn bottle up in this shit. Hell, hold on.
All right. While Brother Bobby is doing that,
going on.
I'll go ahead, Brother Bobby.
It's called Crayolan, but I can't find the bottle right now. Okay, but just, I can look it up. Look it up and get some of that life in your house, and whatever's in there got to leave. You see, you got to leave. Just do that. Okay. Okay, then. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in. We're going to continue on. We're live in the remix with Brother Bobby Hemmitt. 646-652-2711 is the number to call. Press 1. If you have a question for Brother Bobby Hemmitt, we're going to go to the phone lines calling in from area code 516. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Yes, I'm Henry. I'm calling from New York.
Okay, greetings, Henry. You have a question for Brother Bobby?
Yes, I had downloaded the book by Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing. You know what I mean?
Did you read? Is the first word say had the manifestation of Newt?
Yes.
Okay, had is a star.
Okay.
And it's the manifestation of Newt. Just read it over and over. Then what you want to do? See, you lucky now. You got the internet. Go look for commentaries. They got a ton of them on there.
Sure.
So after you read it, go back and Google it down or whatever you do and look for commentaries on the Book of the Law.
Okay.
And then study the commentaries. But right now, just read it. Don't matter if it's confused. It don't matter. It's coming from a higher intelligence, a pre-human intelligence. So you're gonna have to just read it and try to make out the best you can. And then, but there's commentaries, and you don't even have to buy the books no more. They got tons of that stuff. He's got the most saturated stuff. You just get the commentaries of the Book of the Law.
All
and
right.
They got tons of those. You can download all of that. Yeah. But just read it right now. Just read it and just keep reading it. You see.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then.
All right. Thanks for calling in. We're going to continue on going to the caller calling in from area code 678. You're live in the remix.
Hello?
Yes, greetings. You got a question for Brother Bobby?
Hey, how you doing? I just got a couple comments.
No, I don't want no comments. You got some questions? No comments.
Okay.
None.
Okay. I was just
you got
wondering,
a question? That's fine.
Okay. I was wondering. I just want to elaborate on what was going on with the. I understand that the dimension is crashing, and they had the thing going on in Atlanta about Bishop Eddie Long. And what I found interesting was that today, the same day that he had the conference meeting, the Falcons went, and I'm not very a big fan of football, but the Falcons beat New Orleans in their home territory, and he was always saying stuff on a metaphysical.
Now, normally I would pass that up, but that is something. that is something. Yeah, that is something from New Orleans. You know, that last Super Bowl, the Spirit won that for them. You can look at that. If you look at that last Super Bowl, I don't watch football no more, but I was watching that shit. And there was some crisscross shit up in there. It was almost like some other dimensional stuff happened to give them that victory. Now you got the Atlanta Falcons. You see what I'm saying? The losingest team in world history. Damn near. And this kind of thing. So, yeah, there might be something to that. I'm going to look into that. But as far as...
You were telling me that, I think it was the eagle or falcon represents Horus. And I was looking at the saint as like a Christian, you know what I'm saying, some type of Christian thing. But
yeah, well, also the saints. New Orleans is full of voodoo.
Yeah.
And a lot of voodoo in Santeria and Yoruba in the West. In order for them to continue with the African religions, they hid them up under the saints. So the saints got some energies to them.
Okay.
They got some energies to them. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. There's a book that people need to get. It's called Helping Yourself with the Selected Prayers. It's called Helping Yourself with the Selected Prayers by Baba Raoul Canizares. Let me see if I can. And anyway, in this particular, this original publication is the name of the book company. And in here, they tell you what saints go at what African deities. And what African deities. And all you need to do is, it says, just type in helping yourself with selected prayers. And in there, they got all the saints in there. They got volume 1 and volume 2. They got volume 1 and volume 2 of this particular thing, and it's put out by Original Publications. So I'm just glad you said that, because that's what that whole saints thing was about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that saints thing was about. Yeah, okay then.
Okay.
All right.
Take it easy.
Yeah, okay.
All right. We're going to continue on, and let's see who else is on the phone lines here. I think I kind of skipped over a few people. Make sure you press 1 if you're on the phone line so that I know that you have a question. I'm going to try this caller. I don't think we did get to the caller. It looks like the caller is calling in from area code 661. You're live in the remix. 661. Okay, we can't hear them, so we're going to continue on. Caller calling in from area code 216. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Yeah, hello, this is D.
Yes, greetings.
Cleveland. Yeah, I had a quick question on spirits, and they've been trying to tap in and give me certain messages, and I try to center myself so I can try to catch up on the message. So sometimes I can get it, and sometimes I can't. Like if I'm talking to certain people or just in general, I may just be within myself and trying to understand.
What I found out, because I've dealt with tons and tons of seers and psychics over the years, I found out the best way to get them to do it is to get a pencil and a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And a pencil and a piece of paper, because sometimes they won't give you the message because they're afraid that you might forget. And they don't want you to forget. And one of my queens I used to be with, Ginger, that's what she used to do. Whenever the transmission's coming in, Newt, she used to channel from Newt, the great goddess, sky goddess. And she would tell her, go get a pencil and a piece of paper. Because, like that. And sometimes that's what happens. That pencil and piece of paper could be a divination tool for you. Mm. And basically, it might be important. They don't want you to forget it. So get you a pad. And better yet, if you really want to really do it, go down and buy you some type of writing book. You know how you see them books with the cover, and on the inside ain't nothing but paper? Mm-hmm. Get you one of them. And get you one of them and a nice pen. And it'll show those spirits, it'll show the spirits that you're serious. And like that. And so that's what they want you to do a lot of times. So that's a good thing for anybody to get you one of those, what you call it, a diary or one of those writing manuals that have especially get the one with the hard back on it. And then it has with the hard back, and then it has all of the white paper. Those are real good. And get you a good pen. And if you really want to get fancy and really want to get advanced with it, buy you a quill. A quill is a feather pen and some ink, and you really rolling. You can do some magical stuff there too. But any nice pen will do it too. Yeah, so that's how you get centered with that. Start with that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, thanks for calling in. All right, we're going to continue on here. We have about 17 minutes left to go in the form. Calling in from area code 225, you're live in the remix.
Hello.
Yes. Greetings. You got a question for Brother Bobby?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
How you doing? Okay.
Yeah, this is Al from Baton Rouge. I just want to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
We are born through the womb in the physical, right?
Yeah.
Kind of know, have you made contact with any entities or ancestors that said how we are born or how we become once we go to the small life? In afterlife, is there some type of birth, or have they ever described any?
The birth, how we get down here?
No.
You talking about after we leave?
After we leave, have they ever described, or is there any record of a description of what happens once we get to the small life at the end of the tunnel?
Oh, there's tons of things. Your Tibetan Book of the Dead goes into it. You want to get, but they got documentaries now on Tibetan Book of the Dead. And you want to get those Tibetan Book of the Dead, they got documentaries on that stuff now. Any Tibetan Book of the Dead, you can read it, but see now they got the text and they tell you all what you go through, and those are real ones to get. Those are real ones you want to get. Now there's another new DVD out now, and it's called Infinity, the Ultimate Trip. Infinity, the Ultimate Trip. A film by Jay Weidner, Jayweidner, Jay Weidner. And it's called Infinity, the Ultimate Trip, Journey Beyond Death. And this has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 authors, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 authors talking about the experience of death. So this is the new information on that. You need to get the DVD. It just came out not too long ago. Came out in 2009. It's called Infinity, the Ultimate Trip, Journey Beyond Death. Journey Beyond Death. Hold on 1 minute. I said, yeah, and that's the one you want to get. It's called, so you want to go online and you want to look up, type in Sacred Mysteries Presents. And the Sacred Mysteries is the name of the series, and they got all kind of stuff. And the name of the guy who put it together is Jay Weidner. That's Jayweidner. And it's called Infinity, the Ultimate Trip. So try to look that up online, Journey Beyond Death. And it goes into all of that. And like I said, they got the Tibetan Book of the Dead now. Goes through all of that stuff. And all of that, what you're talking about, is the new birth, and it's called the Bardo period. And when you leave, you got to go through a 49-day, 50-day period of a Bardo period, which means you get acclimated for the next life. And in so many words, you start a whole nother journey. You start a whole nother life and work, so it can depend, not unless your soul is stuck. You see what I'm saying? But yeah. But remember, any books on Tibetan Book of the Dead, get that book there, that DVD.
Okay, I appreciate that too.
Yeah, all right.
All right, beautiful. We're going to continue on here. Caller calling in from area code 972. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
I said, my name is Sherry, and I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Okay,
and
greetings, Sherry.
Greetings, and Mr. Blue, I'm going to contact you, too. I don't remember how I got in contact with Remix and Bobby Hemmitt, but I've been on the path for at least 20-plus years. And I'm calling because of some new things that are happening to me. Everything that you said, Brother Bobby, is I have gone through going to the lowest, going back up. I've seen the lights in the sky. I've done study. I've been to Egypt. I worked in Israel. But even now, I'm going through a phase of life where I know I died a couple of days ago, but I made a decision that I came back.
Right.
And I'm studying. I've been through, I'm going to say, at least 90% of your stuff literally in the last month and a half.
Beautiful.
Well, I got over 400 DVDs. Are you sure? I got over 400 DVDs.
I will back off of that and say I go through 8 hours a day because I'm at a second low financial period in my life. And I already see the incline coming, and I do have your that list to send you some money. Where I'm coming from now is that so many things are coming at me. I really don't know what to do, and I know I'm just standing still and just studying 6 to 7 hours. A lot of your tapes, I have pictures of Ivy Rose Soderbergh myself. I have a picture of David Blair, Barry Shango. I have been on this path a long time, and it seemed like I'm going through a new, different, higher phase.
It is a quickening.
I'm so alone. I don't know who to talk to.
Well, that's what it is. See, they say the path to this higher level is a secluded one, but it's a joyous one. It's a lonely one.
Yes,
it's a lonely path, but
my joy is great.
Yeah, but
my joy is great.
Yeah, it's a lonely one, but you just like I said, you can pull back and just give yourself some time, to just enjoy some stuff like pick out some favorite food. Although I'm down to almost my appetite has been gone since July, and I mean and stuff. But that's because of a new nourishment that's happening and stuff. You see, I have to force myself to eat.
Let me share this with you. About 6 weeks ago, I actually was walking, and then my back went out. My back recovered, but I actually felt the base of my spine literally go up to my brain stem.
Yeah.
And all of the metaphysical things that you talk about in your lectures is happening to me. I'm going, okay, with all of this happening, I knew what to do the first time. This second time is throwing me for a loop.
We're just going to have to let it happen because you're turning into a new species.
Okay.
You see, you're turning into a new species. It's going to have to just let it happen. I mean, it's going to be all kind of things. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do understand.
It's all kind of things. You see what I'm saying? My feet sometimes feel like they as big as a house, like they're swollen, and I look down and they're skinny as hell. That's another phase of Kundalini energy coming up from the feet.
I hate to tell you, my feet is AA. In a couple of months, my feet was double their size, and my legs was double their size. And I went to the doctor; they couldn't tell me anything. And then once they started
physical, that's spiritual.
They started talking foolish.
Spiritual.
I started talking foolish to them and left.
Yeah, but that's spiritual. The doctors ain't gonna be able to tell you nothing.
Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
So I just need to go through it and
just go through it. It's just like anything else. You got to let it run its cycle. It's turning you into something else.
Yes.
You see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, thank you, Brother Bobby. And Miss Blue, I'm going to call you for a reading when the finances get straied out in a couple of weeks.
Yes. Make sure you definitely just email me, though. I would love to be in touch. Just question the number 4blue@gmail.com and let me know you spoke with me on the show. I thought you had already said that, but just let me know. Be in touch, okay?
And Brother Bobby, when my finances, I'm going to cut you a check. I might fly to Atlanta because I got the time and bring it to you. I don't know what I'm going to do, okay?
I hear you.
Hey, at this point, I have so much time, and money is about to be. I can do what I want. So
all right.
I've been pulled out the system for years.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, you could always slide me some cheese.
I ain't mad at you. But I tell you what, thanks for talking to me because I just needed to reach out tonight because it's really lonely. The material is fantastic. I am having a good time. And today is my birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Y'all have a good day. And have a good
Thank you. And many blessings, sister. Thanks for calling in.
And I'm going to email and I'm going to call.
All right. Beautiful. We're going to continue on in the remix. We're going to go to the next caller here. Lots of amazing things. Area code 832. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from. Okay. Area code 832. Yes, you're live in the remix. Question for Brother Bobby?
Yes. How you doing? How you doing, Brother Bobby?
All right.
All right. I had a question. I called the show Friday night, and I was speaking with Brother Panic. My name is Larry. I don't know if Miss Blue remember.
Yes, I do, Larry.
And I suffered from mental illness for about 6 or 7 years now, and something that happened to me when I was in the mental hospital years ago. it's like I always wanted to know what it meant. And I was sitting on the couch. It was like 3 a.m, and I was crying. I was just crying and crying and crying. And I seen figures in the TV. The TV was off, and I seen figures of all my cousins, my relatives, of their faces, like flashed before my eyes. And then after that, I got up and started walking. And it seemed like I was walking into this light. And it was very, very bright. You know.
Yeah.
And this is a true story. You know, I know.
Yeah, no problem. No, man, this is part for the course for me. Go ahead on. You know, ain't nothing spooky about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's like after it happened, you know, it's like I was walking into a great bright light, and all of a sudden after that, it felt like it was another day. You know.
Yeah, that's called astro light. You astro travel, but what you first did when you saw those figures in the TV, that's called scrying. Scrying is you can get a black flat surface and it's shiny, and Nostradamus used to put water in it and he could see the future. You can see certain people in certain images. That's called scrying. So what happened to you were scrying. You looked in the TV, and the TV was also, and the glass was like a crystal ball. You could see images in it because that's called scrying, and that's something that you can do. There's books on scrying where you can go and learn how to look in certain black mirrors. You can buy a black mirror, but you can also just buy a black shiny plate, and which is actually good because what it means is the simple fact you did it. Haphazardly means that it would be easy for you to learn how to scry, and that would see images. Yeah, that's SKRY. I think that's what it is, and basically, and for you, I got a book on scrying, a new one. But SCRY. Okay, SCRY. Yeah, I had to get the spell check by my queen. But so that's what happened to you, and you can see those particular images. So one thing that came out of this, it means that you can develop that ability to scry because you already did it haphazardly. So just type in, if you're on the internet, type in scrying and stuff, and they'll probably have instructions and stuff. But you could just start with a black plate, you see what I'm saying, and start doing the exercise anybody can do. That's how Nostradamus saw his visions. And you just saw it through the TV screen.
Right.
Yeah, and then you went to the astro plane, which is called the astro light and stuff. And the only reason why you didn't go because you have a card attached to you, and before you can actually get trapped in that, the card snatches you back in your body. So,
okay.
So it ain't nothing strange about what happened to you. That was just regular.
I know it's definitely not nothing strange because, you know, I don't understand the doctors, and the doctors don't understand me. It's point blank.
Yeah, well, that's what the doctors are not there to understand. They're only there to prescribe medicine. That's it. That's their job. Prescribe medicine, but never healing.
Because one of them came to me and they told me one time, and they said, "Do you still think you can read people's thoughts?" I never told them that.
Well, you probably did tell them that. You see, when you was in another plane, but all that's good, man. Here's the name of the book. I just found it. The name of the book. Hold on, let's see if I can get it. It's a book for people out there that's interested. It's called "Scrying for the Secrets of the Future." Scrying, SKRYING. Scrying. No, it's called "Scrying the Secrets of the Future." Scrying the secrets of the future. How to use crystal balls, fire, wax, mirrors, shadows, and spirit guides to reveal your destiny. Her name is Cassandra Eason. CASSANDRA Eason. EASON. Scrying the Secrets of the Future. Cassandra Eason. Get that book. It tells you of the future. And anybody can do that, and that should be your new TV set for everybody, is to try to learn how to scry and get the visions and stuff. The crystal ball is real, but this particular book here gives you all the stuff. And she goes around the world. She gives you stuff from Egypt and everywhere on how this stuff is done. Scrying the Secrets of the Future by Cassandra Eason, EASON. Well, all right.
All right.
I really appreciate that, Brother Bobby Hemmitt.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We're going to continue on. We're going to go to the phone lines. We have about 2 minutes left to go in the forum, but if you are on the phone lines, we're going to continue the conversation with Brother Bobby. And if you're out there and you want to call in, either to listen or to ask a question, 646-652-2711. Get your questions ready because we're just going to come to you and get your questions.
I got it.
I'm going to go ahead and close out for those of you who will not be listening on this end. And thank you for joining. Yes, we did. Thank you for enjoying the show this evening, being a part of the Remix family, listening in. The contact information for Brother Bobby and for all things, if you're interested in having a lecture, if you're interested in getting some of the DVDs, the stimulus check, any of those things, 678, yes, the stimulus package, 678-358-1055 is the number to call for Brother Bobby Hemmitt. And
get that picture packet. It is off the chain.
Yeah, the picture packet. Love it, love it, love it. And those who have it will tell you that as well, as with all things. So peace and blessings to everyone. Much love, warm spirit. Thank you guys for joining us here live in the forum. We are going to continue. So don't forget to download this show. And if you didn't catch the show with Brother Panic on Friday night, go ahead and download that. I'm on iTunes too, so it's no excuse. You can get it any way you like it. And we're going to continue here. Are you ready to keep going, Brother Bobby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Calling in from area code 347. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from. 347? All right. Let me find 347. They're not there. Okay, we're going to continue. Looks like the call dropped. Calling in from area code, it looks like 619. 619, you're live in the remix. Please make sure you turn your computer speakers off.
Put your phone on mute.
We'll come back. All right, calling in from area code 880. You are live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from. 860?
I'm sorry. Hello?
Yes, Rick.
Hi. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm actually. How are you doing, Miss Blue?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for calling in. You got a question for Brother Bobby?
I do. And how are you, Brother Bobby?
How you doing?
I'm very good. I just have a quick question. The topic of, I don't know how I kind of stumbled across the topic of the show today, and it just kind of fell into this pattern, because every time I look at the clock, I see the number 1111, and I've been doing some research on it, and it talked about like this whole DNA thing, and I found your show, and I was kind of curious if that was something you were aware of, or the number 11, and why
11 is called 11 cosmic power zone. It is the number for magic. It's called 1 beyond 10. It's the number for all things mystical. 11 is very powerful, but like you said, it does deal with the DNA. It deals with the towers in the tarot. It deals with several things. It deals with several things. What was the tarot card you're going to? Yeah, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
I'm familiar with it.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. And while you're at it, the people need to study the 22 arcana, which is the 22 cards of the tarot, the major arcana. There's a minor arcana, and there's a major arcana. And study those major arcana. They tell a story, and that's what's happening right now. And because you brought it up, there's 2 towers up in there. And that's also when they had that the World Trade Center. A lot of that stuff was significant when you studied the towers in the tarot. There's 2 towers in the Lord of the Rings, but which leads you to, if you want to deal with the 11 thing, you need to study the tarot cards, especially the major arcana, and be interested to find out what the 11th card is. So you can go on the internet if you don't have a tarot deck and look up that 11th card and start studying from there. Just look up the 11th arcana of the tarot and see what the information is, and it might even tap you into another doorway. But any kind of master number, but there's 22 major arcanas in the tarot. and you need to study all 22 major arcanas in the tarot deck. It's a map. It's a map of the soul. It's a map of where your DNA is actually going.
Okay.
And stuff.
Is there a good book that you recommend, or?
What's a good tarot book? Let me see. Let me just get a now, I'm going to give a basic tarot deck, a good standard one. Let me see here. Yeah, you don't want to. There's the Rider-Waite deck is the basic one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you one a little, is the basic one to read. But I just want to give you another little good one, another little good standard one. Can you think of any, Blue?
I'm thinking the one, the Rider deck is the
the
one.
Rider deck is the one that everybody learns from.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one to kind of get the foundation.
That's the one that people deal. Yeah, that's the one that everybody starts off on, the Rider-Waite.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I had bought the Hermetic deck and I never used it. It's just sitting there. I bought it and never did anything with it.
Well, if you look at it, if it has, most of them are still based off the motif of the Rider-Waite, so that might be good. So just take that and start dealing with the major arcana.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to continue on, you guys, for some more questions here in the forum with Brother Bobby Hemmitt. Make sure you have your computer speakers turned down. I'm going to try to go to the caller. Calling in from area code 619. You're live in the remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Peace. Miss Blue? Brother Hemmitt?
Greetings, peace.
Yeah. How are you? I feel like I ran out of a burning building trying to get into the call, made it just in time. I've been waiting to talk to you guys for a long time. You don't know.
Yes, I hear you.
How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Great. I'm at work right now, and I have my family at home, so they're at home listening as well. And I have two questions real quick.
Okay.
Brother Hemmitt, I met you in 91, and I listened to some of the archives to catch up with what you've been up to. And I was a part of the Nubian Nation at the time.
Yeah.
And you were at Hampton University, and we came out. And at that time,
I remember.
I was, Brother Hemmitt, I found my way back home, and I appreciate it. You know, at that particular time, I was defending the doctrine, and so you were at odds, so to speak, at that time. But my growth has brought me to the point to appreciate who you are to us in this day and time. I appreciate that 100%. So
remember
to
this
get
too.
into what I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Remember this, you had to go through Dr. York now to get what you got. So never think that was a diversion. You see what I'm saying? Had you not gone through him, you probably wouldn't have been in. You see what I'm saying? So he's a doctor. He's a gateway. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And C. Freeman L. say everybody who's in something, they supposed to be in it at that time. So if you was in the Nation of Islam, you're supposed to be in the Nation of Islam. And you was with Noble Drew Ali, you see what I'm saying? So that's where you were supposed to be at that time, and that's cool. Because you did learn stuff from there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I don't disrespect anything that I learned from the tab at all. I just, when everything happened, I kind of lost my way. And I never lost the urge to keep looking for what I've been looking for. And my wife and my family, we just came across it. The other day, I was looking for the book that Brother Panic mentioned, was the Dictionary of Ancient Gods, the Ancient Deities. And so this particular day, I was worried about going to buy the book because, you know, you get your credit card, you swipe your credit card, you know, they follow what you're doing, you know, by tracing your credit card transaction. So it was bothering me all day whether I should go get up and buy the book. So I'm laying on the bed, and I got some cash together, which I don't really keep cash on me. I always use the credit card. So I got some cash together, and we went out. Well, I called the store, first of all. Let me slow down. I called the store to see if they had the book Ancient Deities.
Yes.
And the bookstore, the phone number was locked down. I wasn't able to get in. The phone, the recording on the phone said that we're having technical difficulties, blah, blah, blah. So I called another Borders to see if they had the book. I called the store. They said, we have one book in the system, but they show it at the other store, the store that I called, that they were having technical difficulties. So anyway, so I get my money together, get my family together. We go and get the book because I have to work that night. I work the night shift. And I bought the book, so I go in, and there's a young lady in there, and she pretty much knows follows what type of books that I buy and I purchase. So she told me that there was a 40% discount that day, and she needed to know where the location of the book was because the computer system was down. I said, well, I can call the store.
Is this story a journey or what? I mean, I think you need to fast forward a little bit.
All right. So the point is, when I bought the book, I got to work that night and I was reading the book, and a thought hit me, and it was almost like just an awareness that we shut the store down so you can go and get the book.
Yeah, that happens. Okay, now I see where you're going. We do it all the time when we go to the post office. The line be out the door. And Linda be like, no, I'm going to speed this line up. And basically, she imagines, and then the next thing we know, for some kind of way, we right up front. So, yeah, you do things like that. You can do things like that. Your spirit does things like that, especially when they want you to get a book or something like that. Yes. And we do stuff like all the time when something happens, we go, oh, I found this, so this is why I came in this store.
Right.
I didn't know why I was coming. I thought I was coming, but I was coming for this. That's because the Spirit led you in there. You see what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah. You got to excuse my enthusiasm. It's just been a whole lot of things that have been happening lately, so my enthusiasm to get the story out, it's just we've been on a journey lately. And Ms. Blue, we have a scheduled oracle reading with you next month, so we're looking forward to that as well.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, that's all good, man. You own it, and it's going to continue.
Yes, it is.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in.
Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing Ms. Blue next month.
All right. Beautiful. Okay. That's right, everyone. We are listening to Brother Bobby Hemmitt. I'm going to give out his phone number one more time. For those of you who may be listening live now or you're listening to the archive, that's going to be to contact Brother Bobby Hemmitt, 678-358-1055. Don't forget to download this show afterwards as well.
And remember, that's for stimulus package, picture packages, and the DVDs. Now, this is not a consultation line. So when you call, if it ain't for the stuff, you see what I'm saying? It's highly unlikely you're gonna get through. I'm just giving you the big ups now so you don't be upset. It's not a consultation line. You see what I'm saying? This is the ordering line.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying on that particular level. So just remember that and all. Consultations, like you say, there's several people out here that can give you the consultations and stuff. You see?
And those of you who are asking for Bobby, because a lot of people want to know when you're coming back to the UK, when are you going to do another lecture in Atlanta, and when is your next lecture?
Right now it's all up in the air. Like I said, the Spirit had me doing certain things, so right now the sky's the limit. It's going to happen.
Right.
It's going to happen, but right now I'm just in limbo.
Okay.
Not necessarily in the negative form and stuff like that.
Right.
The Spirit, cleared out a lot of stuff and all like that. And you got to realize I don't know who the hell is calling my damn house this time of day. But anyway, what happened here is for some eerie reason, and let me just tell you this particular story right quick.
Right.
For some eerie reason, this happened. Right before Christmas, some people put out a tape called Damn Shame. Now, Damn Shame was talking about the gay Hollywood and gay boule and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. It was a book. It's called Damn Shame. So anyway, we don't know who the author is because I wouldn't have agreed. Yeah, I wouldn't have agreed to it. You see what I'm saying? Because because we don't know who the author is. But whoever this thing is put this thing out anonymously. But what they did do is they used excerpts from my lectures when I talked about the stars and the dress, and I talked about the gay boule or whatever type thing here. But as far as their context, I wouldn't agree to do it and stuff like that because I'm past, But this is the deal. So I asked the Spirit, well, why would this occur? And so what happened is they remained anonymous. They didn't say nobody else who was on it. But they put my name on the back of the first bootleg DVD, and they put it in the bootleg circuit. And so eerie thing happened. I said, well, maybe if it's something spiritual, because I'm protected or what have you. If it's something spiritual, maybe let me see where this goes. So in so many words, the people got this thing. This thing is the biggest bootleg all over the country. The entire rap industry got it. It's everywhere. They got 100,000 hits on the YouTube and all of this type thing. And so when the people look, they're trying to find the author of this thing, and he remained anonymous. But he did put my name on the back of the cover of the DVDs around the first of the year, the bootlegs. So these people, a funny thing happened. They'll go on there, they'll find my name, and they'll go on YouTube thinking that they're going to get some more of the damn Shane stuff and end up tapping in to my works. Yes. So now it's, as for some eerie way, it has introduced young people and people who normally wouldn't even be in this consciousness is now Bobby Hemmites. So that's the way the spirit works sometimes when we talk about series of detours and stuff like that. So this
so we don't know Brother Bobby. So true, because I had people contact me and they didn't even know I did a show. And they said that they said, well, we somehow they ended up finding you on YouTube, and they connecting with me, but have no clue about what is going on. But I've seen that. Me and Panic have talked about that too, and we're like, I'm asking myself, like, where are they coming from? They're just coming.
They're coming from the damn thing. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to go to Indiana. There's a whole town.
Right.
They didn't got this thing out too, outside of Indiana. To the point of, and so everywhere. And then the name done changed. One is called Illuminati, because it's bootleg. But for some eerie way, the entire country has listened to this thing. And some of them, before they changed the name and they changed the cover, they was able to get my name from the bootleg and then go on the website, and now they are Bobby Hemmitt fans. So in some kind of way, the spirit gave me to some people who normally would be in these circles to even know who I was.
Right.
Yeah, so that's interesting,
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a couple more calls as we get ready to close out for just this evening. Calling in from area code 239, you're live in the remix.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Blue. This is Marquita.
Greetings. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I was recently told by, I can't remember her name. I'll come up with it. But anyway, she told me that I had power. And so I'm like, okay, thinking about my grandmothers and things like that and knowing their power and how they manifest things. And I woke up one morning and I was just like, oh, my God, I just do not want to go to work today. I said, I don't want to go. And I just felt like, woof, come out of me and just like this trembling on the ground. Went to work, the water was out. Shut the job down, couldn't go to work. Everybody had to go home. A month later, it happened again. There was no the electricity went out after 2 hours at the job.
Yeah.
And I was just astounded, and it was like, okay, now you need to get into your magic and study your magic and do and do what you got to do.
What it's saying is you was doing that. You was shutting it down with your thoughts. And you can do that. You can do that. I used to, like I said, I used to be on a plane. How I got those 400 lectures is I used to do stuff. I do a lecture once a month in the 90s in Atlanta and do. I was flying every weekend almost. So I had been over 300 flights in 10 years. So what happened was I got so good until we got on the road to go to the airport and we was late. I would always delay the flight. And sure enough, when we get there, the flight was delayed. You see what I'm saying? So and I just did that in my mind.
But I want to be able to control it.
Well,
and then Sister Myra. I did a reading with Sister Myra, and she was telling me that. And
well, I got you. Well, like I said, there's so many books on this type of stuff.
Oh yes.
There's so many type of books on this. I tell people to get a book called Every Woman is a Psychic by Diane Stein.
Yes, excellent book.
Every Woman is a Psychic by Diane Stein.
EINSTEIN.
Yeah, Stein. Yeah. Get that book. Get that particular book. But there's so many books on magic and stuff, you could get and just do some basic stuff. But a lot of it is belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Believe you can do it.
Yes, because we all have the power. Everyone does.
Right.
Everyone does.
Exactly.
And I want to put something else in there, and then I'm going to let somebody else come on. They were trying to, because there's a lady at my job. She is involved in a few things, and they were like, "Oh, she was the one. She's the one who made had the power." I said, "Please." I said, "That was all the way me, honey. Can't nobody else do that but me. I'm melanated to the core."
Well, you got it. Well, just keep rolling with it.
Yep, you got it.
Just dive into it.
Well, I thank you, both of you, for doing what you do. I appreciate Ms. Blue and Bobby Hemmitt. Thanks, and I appreciate you.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
All right. We're going to continue on here. Calling in, it looks like from area code 619. You're live in the remix. Tell us who you are, please. Area code 619.
Yes. Hello, Miss Blue and Bobby.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Hi, how are you? Actually, I'm just streaming off. My husband just called in a little while ago, spoke with Mr. Hemmitt, talking about the Nubian Nation. And my name is Lanisha. I just wanted to ask a question because you mentioned scrying.
Yeah.
And I'm learning about that, and my husband and I just purchased the Black Mirrors.
Right.
Forgot the name of it, just to come offhand, but I wanted to know, that's something that I'm interested in, and I want to get started in that. We've been learning about the crystals, and, we all just purchased, the quartz crystals and bloodstones, and, we getting into magic, sort of, what others would say. But I wanted to know, as far as going about the scrying,
well,
I feel like I'm a newbie at it, so I don't want to make any not any mistakes, but how to ease into it.
Just get the book, Scrying for the Secrets of the Future. Cassandra Eason, EASON. That's the best thing you can do.
Okay.
Is to familiarize yourself with that. That's the new book. They got other ones, but this one here it gives you everything. So get that one. Scrying, not farther. Scrying the Secrets of the Future by Cassandra Eason, EASON.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I am gonna get that book, and I appreciate both of you all.
Yeah.
Really. We've been tuning in and listening to the archives and loving every bit of it. It's like church in the house. We are not religious, but this is our church.
I hear you.
Okay.
All right.
Calling in.
Thank you.
All right, Brother Bobby. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I want you to just kind of give us we got a lot tonight, but if you can touch on, just as we get ready to close out, to talk about sort of the blueprint in DNA and what that means for us in this time, and some of the things that we can begin to really, really kind of tune in and focus our energy on.
Right. The blueprint is you create most of that stuff around you, and especially because we have this melanin, this junk DNA, it's easier to create for us. Easier to create for us. So now, the blueprint now at this particular time is to somehow start thinking of yourself other than a human, like that star that we was talking about. So that we can create a roadway back to our true self, which is those particular stars in that orbit and stuff like that in that orbit. But don't be duped into things of fear, because if you are given fear, like all these people with the conspiracy theories and all of this stuff with the Illuminati and the government and stuff like that, if you're given those types of fears, you see what I'm saying, you're going to remain trapped in that. The blueprint here is first of all, the melanin is your blueprint, but you got to program it now to go along with where your DNA is going, and that is going into a new species. So you got to think everything in a new species, you see, in a particular way.
Yeah.
You see. And so, and whatever that is, your mind is going to come up with it, but don't dismiss it because you're the only one thought about it.
Yes.
See, our mind is going to start giving us stuff, but we're going to start dismissing it as crazy because we can't get no validation from somebody else.
Yes.
But, no, you're on your own unique orbit. It's your unique path. You see what I'm saying? So don't dismiss it. It's all inside of us, and it's going to start coming more and more because we are in the 2012 consciousness. You see what I'm saying? The 2012 consciousness.
Yeah.
And all, you see. So, so get out of these laws that's going to bring you guilt and fear. You don't have to be guilty of anything.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Guilty of anything because nothing down here is real. It's on a series of programs, so don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Don't even worry about it. You see, so pretty much it's going to happen whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
It's just that we could be online with it. You see what I'm saying? And enjoy what's actually happening. You see?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
Well, definitely, Brother Bobby. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing share here with the information that you dropped for us here. And again, I'm going to give out the information for everyone for the stimulus checks, the stimulus packages for you guys to get for the picture packages, for DVDs, because there are so many. What you see on YouTube is just a fraction. So if you've got a taste there, you definitely want to get some of the real ones, and then you'll never go back to just looking at those. And you can contact Brother Bobby Hemmitt if you're interested in bringing Brother Bobby Hemmitt to a city near you. I know some people from the UK have been asking, some people in the Atlanta area. Just give a call to area code 678-358-1055. That is the number to contact Brother Bobby Hemmitt for orders if you wish to purchase some of these things. And also, as well, if you wish to have Brother Bobby Hemmitt come out for a lecture, perhaps maybe this is your first time and you're thinking about doing it, that'll be something great to do. So
we'll walk you through the process.
Beautiful, yes.
Yeah, we'll walk you through the process.
That's enough to call.
But I'm telling you, this picture packet, the stimulus package, if you already got it, fine. But if you don't, the picture packet is a ritual within itself. There will be a picture in there that can assist you with anything that you want. So it's over 47 pictures or something, or 45 or 47. So it's a lot of pictures.
Wow.
And just get down with that. Like I said, the stimulus package, you need to get them before the 14th. I mean, even if you get them after the 14th, but I'm just trying to say, but because once that 14th come in, it's going to last, that Duval Festival is going to last throughout the year. So just need to get take advantage of the stuff because the gods already done came through. And like I said, we got all the DVDs and stuff too. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Brother Bobby, we're going to go ahead and close out. Again, I thank you so much for all the information and knowledge. I know it's been transforming to my life and many others. So we definitely send love and thanks to you and your queen for coming on.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed you, and it was, and just, you got to send me this one because you got to rewind this thing over and over because I don't know what I was saying.
Okay. I'll send you this one. I'll put it in the mail by Monday. So tomorrow I'll make sure I send this one out.
And the last one, too.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Yes. And
we enjoyed you.
Yes, and I want to give a big shout out to Sister Ursa Mayat. I want to make sure I do that too. Just always staying connected and always letting everybody know, she, especially when you're coming on. So big ups to her and thanks for the support